And we'll be live. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. Hi. Guys, make sure you're liking the stream right away. Me and Susie are here. Susie hasn't been here for 2 weeks now. This is too much time of not having Susie on this channel. This is like not good. Don't let it happen
I
again.
missed you guys. I missed everyone.
Oh,
I missed the show
yeah.
last week like a lot. I did. It was the weekend time, and I'm like, what am I doing with myself?
Hello from Jordan. Oh, our favorite Palestinian in the live chat. Guys, Zaid is our favorite Zionist. Can I call you a Zionist Palestinian? Is that fair? Would that
I
be
don't know if
fair?
that's a good idea for his own safety, Armin.
Oh, come on. He has been, nobody knows who he is, and he has been here. Okay, fine. We be live. Yes, people are saying we be live. What's good? Yes, what's good? Amikai is saying, hi guys, don't forget to lick the stream. Lick the stream. I don't know if you want to do that to your phone, but okay. Yes, guys, please like the stream. And also hit the subscribe if you're new here. Oh wow, we got $50 super chat already at the beginning of the show. That's amazing. Hold on, I thought we had Angel back, but it's not. It's Sar. We have a
I
new
know. Where
top
is
donor.
Angel?
Oh,
She never emailed
where's
me,
Angel?
and
Yeah. Oh, we miss her.
I'm upset.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's read this before we get started again.
Sar gave us a $50 super chat. Thank you so much. It's so generous. Except it's not even directed towards me. It's directed towards Armin. I'm kidding. Hello, Armin. How are you? How's life treating you? No hard feelings. I support your cause. Here is a few bucks for you and all the girls like Ahu Darye in Iran. Oh, so this is referring to well, I mean, this happened yesterday, so we'll be talking about it on the news next week. But this girl that did this, like, basically protest against forced hijab in Iran by stripping down to her underpants and just walking around her university that way. The video footage is wild. People say that this is her name. I don't know if that's actually true.
In her underpants, she actually went full naked.
Full, like, I did not see that on Twitter. I did not see that on Twitter. I just saw the underpants.
No. She at first she was with her underpants, but then she went completely naked in response to them, trying to harass her because of her hijab. So yeah, we're gonna cover
chat
this.
Is funny to me, like, no hard feelings. I support your cause. Like, that makes it sound like there was like some beef, but nothing about this super chat is confrontational. It was just all happy and love.
Oh no, because in the last stream I was going anti because I'm anti all religion, including Judaism. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So
sure.
Yeah. Sometimes but Christianity and Judaism and all other religions take a back seat compared to how much I focus on Islam. But
True.
sometimes I also remind people that I'm anti-Judaism as well, not just Islam. And there's some disagreements regarding the interpretations from Judaism that happens in the live chat. So this is regarding that previous stream. No hard feelings. I mean, I didn't assume there was any hard feelings, but thank you for that. I appreciate that. I mean, we could disagree, but I mean, guys, the whole point is for us to be able to disagree on stuff, so I hope like we can practice that, because we're not supposed to see eye to eye on everything, right? So that's good. This is healthy. I like it. We have to promote this on this channel. We sometimes disagree and we still like consider each other's positions, even if we don't convince each other. We just have a discussion about it, right? Yeah, so that's good. Yes. So yes, thank you so much for that, sir. We really appreciate you supporting the channel, and it's good to know. It's good to know that the people who support this channel, they are supporting it even if they see some disagreements between them and us. That shows that that's a slower growth, but it's a healthier growth, I think, right? I want this channel to be a channel where we're debating each other and disagreeing with each other, rather than that means that we're not building a cult. To be honest, it's easier to build a cult following and grow faster. But if we're disagreeing with each other here on this channel and we're growing slower but healthier and less cultish. So that's good. I like that. Do you agree, Susie? You're the expert on cults. Do you think that's a good way to avoid becoming a cult?
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, there is way more stuff that goes into it than just that. To be fair.
See,
I think
she's like, see, this is like another reason why we're not a cult, right? Not simplifying stuff, okay? Like, sure, but okay, that's also another sign why we're not a cult. She didn't just say like, you're
Nate
absolutely
is like,
right.
Oh, this isn't a cult? Okay, I'm gonna go. I thought I was signing up for some legit activities.
Saying this.
Yeah.
Okay. By the way, can you tell us what news we're covering today? Like a little bit.
Oh my God, you guys, we are covering some juicy stuff today. And I'm excited because the news that we picked, or I picked, with the help of our lovely editor D, everyone say thank you to D in the live chat, gave me the excuse, because I talked to you guys about how I'm reading some of these like deep reports on like financing networks, Iranian influence networks in the United States, reports examining like the entire anti-Israel domestic movement and how it's just all terrorism all the way down. Like, but as much as I love reading all this stuff, it's very hard for me to come on the show and tell you guys because it's just so deep. And also it might be too niche for some people. Okay. I'm a real big nerd. But I'm excited because today, the news that we're covering today gives me the excuse to come and tell you guys about a lot of this deeper information. Because what I think is important is it's all well and good for these think tanks to be doing really, really important work, very important work, investigating how all these things work behind the scenes and through financing structures and stuff, right? My only problem is that a lot of these think tanks, they don't, their information is not presented in a way that's like accessible for a lot of population. And frankly, it's not entertaining. And so not a lot of people, it's not going to have as much popular exposure. You know what I mean? Pop exposure. Okay. And you know, that's how I like to frame things here. And so I'm excited to bring this to everyone and try to make it entertaining and exciting. And I do this in the format of chit-chatting and telling my best friend about it. And it's going to be fun. So all that being said, we're going to talk about how this is, and the first news, Armin, this is why we need to talk about it, because it has been a crazy year, obviously. And sometimes it's been really hard. It's been very hard. So that's why we need to celebrate our W's when we get them. We need to celebrate the wins when we get them. And the first news is a big win, a massive win for people of our inclination.
And that's the news that I just downloaded 3 videos you wanted me to show for the first news, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I have those ready.
News. Yeah. Second news, we are going to talk about an Iranian transnational repression operation, okay? The attempted assassination of Iranian American journalist Masih Alinejad, and how more information has come out. More people have been indicted, and it's important because it shows that this goes to the head of the snake, okay? So get excited about that. Then we're going to be talking about this shooting that happened in Chicago against an Orthodox Jewish man. It's very important to cover. Then we're going to talk about a new edict and ban that the Taliban seems to have put down. And Armin and I were both extremely confused about this.
Yeah.
Because frankly,
like beyond
I don't even think this is Islamic. I don't even know what this is at this point.
So, guys, we blame a lot of shit on Islam, justifiably. This time the Taliban did something that we're like, wait a minute, which part of Islam is this? So we're going to go investigate Islamically where the fuck the Taliban is getting this from, because we have no idea. Like, again, we like to blame things on Islam. We do like that. But we have to be fair. This is some level of insanity that is beyond even Islam. It's more insane than Islam. Imagine that.
In a sense, it's an accomplishment, just not in the way that I would like. It's actually mind-breakingly tyrannical. And then the last one. Okay, we're gonna talk about an American imam in Dearborn, Michigan, who'll be running his mouth, saying some wild shit about Zionists. But that's par for the course. That's normal. But really, what we're gonna talk about is how he is one of the key figures of the Iranian influence network in the United States. He personally is, in my belief, an agent of the Islamic Republic operating in Dearborn, Michigan, leading a congregation. I don't know if he could technically count as a FARA violation, but I'll talk about what that means later. So, I don't know. We were away for, we didn't have a show last week, and I'm trying to come through with a banger. So I think we need to get started in this, because this first one is a doozy and there's a lot to unpack.
Yeah. I am going to, behind the scenes, try to investigate to justify the Taliban's position before we get to the last news, so that I could see, like, Islamically, if this is Yeah, I'm going to see if Islamically this is defendable Islamically at all, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. Okay. But the first news is insane, so let's get to it.
Really quickly.
It seems like
Gary is asking, Susanna, what does your shirt say? This says Jumhuriye bi Khodayan, which means Atheist Republic in Persian. In fact, wait, you guys can get your own Persian Atheist Republic shirts. I should put a link in the live chat. A great way to support our work is to buy our merch. And you can buy our merch on our website, but this has a special link. Here we go. 1 second.
I'm doing research in the background, guys.
Buy a AR shirt. So yeah, I just put a link in the live chat if you guys are interested in my shirt. I also have stickers of this, and I put it like everywhere. And I like it because I like to support our Atheist Republic Persian channel, and this is obviously like the name and logo of that channel. Yeah, because I don't know if people know this, but Atheist Republic is one of the most influential atheist communities and channels in Persian. Armin has been doing incredible work, and it's paying off because he's kind of a little bit of a thought leader, dare I say, over there on the Farsi side.
Yes, we're setting new trends. I get quoted by people. So, and also I've noticed there's some debates between people, and I get name dropped in, like, big people debating on the Persian and on the Iranian side, okay, in politics and everything, and in the middle of giants debating each other, I get name dropped. Which is great. Yeah. So that means that we're having some influence there, which is great.
Yeah, and guys, that means that when you support Atheist Republic and the work that we do here, you're not only supporting this show, you're supporting all the work we do across our several different channels, including our Persian channel, where we're not just, doing offense, you're investing in the solution, okay? By helping to imbue the values that we support, that we fight for, these classical liberal values, in the population of people that are fighting against the head of the octopus itself, which is the Islamic Republic.
Yes.
That's what you're supporting when you support Atheist Republic. Just want to,
I see the people of Israel and the people of Iran, the two blades of a scissor that is going to cut the head of the Islamic Republic, which is the main cancer, in the world right now, right? And I think, like, one blade is from within and the other blade is from outside. And these are the two blades. Yeah. So
I get excited.
And connecting the people of Iran and the people of Israel together creates this scissor, like connects these two blades together so that they could operate like a scissor. Anyways, we should get to the news.
Yes. And I'm excited. Okay, guys, sit down. Sit down. Okay. Because,
Okay.
hey, wait, we need to clap.
Yes. First news.
First news. Fake Palestinian charity exposed as a terrorist front, my friends. And the law came after them.
Don't say.
Yay! Okay. And this is important because we know that there is a lot of criminal behavior happening amongst these kinds of charities and doing it under the guise of the nonprofit system and NGO system within the United States. And sometimes it can be very discouraging because you're like, how are these people allowed to keep operating? Well, one thing that, as I've especially been educating myself more, I've come to understand is that the government is a very big beast. And sometimes that big beast takes a little bit of time to, cross all the T's and dot all the I's. And then when it executes, it knocks things down. So let's get into it. Okay. And we need to celebrate this because we need to celebrate our wins when we get them. Okay. I want everyone to be celebrating this. On October 15th, 2024, the US Treasury Department and the Canadian government jointly sanctioned the Samidoun Palestinian Solidarity Network, just known as Samidoun for short, branding it a sham charity that secretly funds for the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, or PFLP, a terrorist group linked to violent attacks. Based in Vancouver, Canada, Samidoun has organized pro-Palestinian protests on U.S. campuses and claims to advocate for Palestinian political prisoners, aka terrorists. I just want everyone to understand that when they accuse, this is a diversion, when they accuse Israel of hostage taking or having political prisoners, it's terrorists. Yet the Treasury officials assert that it, quote, masquerades as a charitable actor while directly supporting terror operations. Charlotte Cates, the organization's international coordinator, openly praised recent violence, calling Hamas's October 7th attacks on Israeli civilians a brave and heroic operation, and stating that the so-called Israeli state is a settler colony and that it never had the right to exist. Samidoun's close ties with the PFLP, a Marxist-Leninist faction that has been itself designated as a foreign terrorist operation, or FDO, in the United States since 1997, has also led to its ban in Germany and Israel. And then I think Denmark actually followed the US after this announcement and also banned them. Khalid Barakat, Charlotte Cates' husband, is a senior leader of the PFLP and was sanctioned as part of the crackdown due to his role in the PFLP's recruitment and fundraising efforts to fuel violence in Gaza and the West Bank. Former U.S. Attorney Barbara McCabe underscored the impact of these sanctions, stating it prevents people from making financial contributions to them, thereby cutting off critical funding streams to PFLP affiliates. While Samidoun itself is not an FTO, foreign terrorist organization, it has been designated as a specially designated global terrorist, aka an SDGT, which means that it is recognized as a supporter of terrorism and faces U.S. sanctions that freezes its assets and prohibits U.S. persons from any transactions with it. Unlike the FTO designation, which criminalizes all material support for the group and imposes stricter legal penalties, the SDGT designation targets financial and transactional activities, effectively cutting off Samidoun's access to US-based funds and international financial networks. This allows the Treasury Department to restrict Samidoun's operations without the extensive legal processes required by an FTO designation. So, oh my God, was I excited by this? Because when I tell you that these people are freaking psychos, and I'm going to show you, and pardon my language, you guys, but the leader of this organization, who is pictured right here, Charlotte Cates, this bitch is crazy. Okay. These people say that they are for humanitarian work. But if you follow their activities, it becomes immediately clear that they are much more interested in supporting armed violent terrorism than they are about so-called humanitarian aid or activities, etc. It is clear in all the materials that they print out. It is clear in what they say. They're obsessed with praising PFLP terrorists like Layla Khalid, who was, kind of the first woman to hijack a plane. They support that. They openly support her. They say that they're proud of her for hijacking that plane. They get pictures with her, and most importantly, her husband, this woman's husband, is literally a PFLP senior operative who's living in Canada and has a Canadian citizenship. I don't know how that happened, but now a lot of people want him to get deported. Fully support that. They also want her to get deported because she's technically was originally American. They're like, no, strip her of her Canadian citizenship, boot her off across the border. Y'all can go deal with it. Oh my God. But these people are very, very violent. They promote violence. They have been active in organizing campus protests in the United States, escalating the violence of the protests on these US campuses. They gave a teach-in at Columbia University where they were promoting that it's not a bad thing to love Hamas fighters, that we shouldn't be afraid to do it. These people cannot be more clear. And the first woman to hijack a plane. Yes, girl power, slay queen, girl boss. I want people to understand something really important, because as I've been reading one of these reports about the anti-Israel movement within the United States, it becomes very clear the extent to which progressive and left-leaning organizations have been heavily influenced by the PFLP. And a lot of groups will go on these trips around Israel, Gaza, and the West Bank and go essentially meet with leaders or people who were part of the PFLP. And this becomes their education on the conflict. And this includes people who were part of these trips and met individuals like this, including the journalist Mark Lamont Hill. People will be very familiar with his work on Black Lives Matter. And then he became a journalist in Al Jazeera. And then he wrote a book recently called Except for Palestine. Well, he was part of one of these trips that went around and met people that were part of the PFLP. And this was during 2015 or 2016 when the stabbing intifada was happening. I don't know. The more I start to examine these things, there's such heavy involvement with the PFLP, which is very interesting, because one thing that I want people to understand, and this is really, really important, especially for our audience, is that the PFLP and Samidun, these are not Islamists. These are not Islamists. These people are Marxists. They're very hardcore Marxists. And it's important that we don't get that confused and don't say, oh, great, the US Treasury just took action against this Islamist group, blah, blah, blah. That's actually not true. They are Marxists. However, they are big-time supporters of Hamas. So this is an example of what some people call the Red-Green Alliance, which I think we've talked about on this channel before.
Red, green, or red, black?
Red-green.
Oh.
Most people in America call it Red-Green Alliance, although I think in the Iranian context, you guys call it red-black.
Yes.
Which basically
black
means yeah, exactly. The partnership between the Islamists and the communists. It's oftentimes a marriage of convenience. And
by the way, the first person that talked about this unity between the left and Islamists was Iranian King Mohammad Reza Shah Pahlavi, and this was more than 40 years ago, before you guys knew anything about this. Before the Westerners were surprised, like, why are these people together? They don't seem to be aligned when it comes to value. There was a man that warned the entire fucking world that the unity between these two groups is going to fuck shit up, and people, including United States, did not take that man seriously, and they actually betrayed him, and now they see that he was right, and they should have supported him. He was standing against this unity, and the West did not support him, and now we are dealing with the consequences, because it's all started in Iran, because it all started with the West not supporting the man that was standing against all of this happening. So now this is what's happening.
Yeah. So, shoot, what was I saying? Basically, it becomes very clear when you look at the anti-Israel domestic movement at a larger scale in the United States, how it is much more heavily influenced by Marxist-Leninists than Islamists itself. And then they just praise the Islamists as actually doing the violent, dirty work. Mostly, although they do have, like a lot of love and adoration for these prior PFLP terrorists. I remember what I was going to say. One thing that I want people to understand is that when people like this woman, Charlotte Cates, or other people in the anti-Israel movement use the term like resistance, the Palestinian resistance, I want people to understand that we're not talking about resistance in a general sense. I think this is a trick that they kind of play on Westerners. Like, we're not talking about resistance in kind of a, oh, we're going to fight back. Like, oh, we're going to do, I don't know, civil disobedience. Oh, we're going to have an attitude of opposition, or we're going to do like human rights work against this against this force that we feel oppresses us. Like when they say Palestinian resistance, that is the word that they use basically as a euphemism for Hamas. And this is a word that they use as a euphemism for terrorism. And the more you read through the materials of these groups and how they play word tricks to skirt the law, the more clear that it becomes that they are actually saying that they literally explicitly support Hamas. And so this is an example of one of those groups. And because people forget that Hamas is actually an acronym that means like resistance. Part of the acronym is that it is the Islamic resistance, right? So when they're talking about how they support the Palestinian resistance, this is what they're actually talking about. It's not a concept or, like I said, an attitude of opposition. It's actually about terrorism. And when the further you go into reading what they actually say out of their own mouth, the more clear that it becomes. It's actually literally they are pro-terrorism. And it cannot be construed another way, because you just have to look at what they say out of their own mouth and hold it up against our measures that we have within our government system to define what it means to be pro-terrorism. Like, we have definitions of that within our different government departments. Within the FBI, they have an official definition. This is not about criticism of the U.S. policy. Criticism of Israeli policy does not qualify. What qualifies is these explicit statements, and they are pro-terrorism. Sorry, what were you about to say?
Okay. No, I'm gonna say there's a couple of videos of these maniacs that you want to show, but I'm gonna ask the chat while we are going through that to please see if you could answer this question: what are they resisting? Okay, their resistance against what? And when you answer that question, please keep in mind, like, also that the answer to that question explains why Islamists and Marxists see eye to eye, because it seems that they shouldn't be, right? Islamism and Marxism and wokeism and progressivism seem to be contradictory when it comes to their values. And you think that, so a lot of people make fun of them for being stupid, for not understanding that, oh, these Western woke progressives, they're so stupid, they don't know that these Islamists would basically execute them if they had the upper hand, blah 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 blah. Okay, they're actually not as stupid as you think. There is something more important, like oh, they support LGBT rights, but they're uniting with people that are anti-LGBT, because LGBT rights and women rights, these are all secondary. There is another thing that is more important to both sides, that is actually, they are in line with that. Okay, so they're not as stupid as you think. They do see eye to eye. But what is it that they are uniting over, right? So, and what is it when it comes to the resistance against what? So please let me know if you, I'm going to see if anyone gets it. While Susie, do you have access to the video, so you could show the videos that you wanted to?
Yeah. Okay, Armin. Yeah, keep an eye on the live chat, and if you get any correct answers, star them. I'm like a teacher. Okay, so like I was saying, this woman, who is the leader of Samidun, is a nut job, and I wanted to show some of her statements so you guys can get an idea of how unhinged they are and how it's absolutely absurd that she is allowed to be platformed publicly, including at elite Ivy League universities. So here's
fascist newspapers.
Wait, go from the beginning.
Yeah.
So when you bring it up, okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
And so we see the fascist newspaper saying we are here to celebrate the 7th of October. Well, yes, we are here to celebrate the 7th of October.
So because of that statement, she actually faced a hate crime investigation in the in Canada for that. And this is just the tip of the iceberg, and she doesn't hold back on that. So this next one I'm going to show, it's a little, wait, I need to provide a little bit of context. Okay, so this woman, when she was under hate crime investigation in Canada, she wasn't allowed to speak publicly or to attend events, but she received a humanitarian award from the Islamic Republic. So she flew to Iran to receive this award from Iranian regime officials. Oh, I forgot to mention that this group completely 100% supports the Islamic Republic. They firmly support the axis of resistance. They say so publicly. They have literally no qualms about it. And they're actually here to explicitly bolster support for the Islamic Republic by highlighting and teaching people about how the Islamic Republic has aided Hamas. Just important to highlight. So she went to to Iran to receive this award, and in this award ceremony, you know who was also attended and also received awards? Hamas officials. So this is a clip from when she was giving an interview on Iranian state TV. Okay, but I'm actually gonna mute this because she's speaking in English and then they dub over in Persian. So it just sounds like a mess to listen to. I'm just going to read the subtitles because the way that the audio is just an absolute mess. But so let's play this here. I spoke about the brave, heroic October 7th operation and the legitimacy of the resistance. Okay. And why I want to get the resistance organizations off the so-called terrorist list. And now the police department arrested me and is seeking to pursue hate crime charges against me at the behest of Zionist organizations and political officials. So basically, when she was being asked about this hate crime investigation that she was being charged with, I was reading this interview of hers yesterday, and basically she's saying that there's nothing negative about praising October 7th. She was like, this is a very specific Zionist lens to say that this is, you know, hateful. I'm like, oh
Wow.
my God.
I say more. I mean, that's great. So Zionism means condemning the murder of civilians and raping women and killing children. Is that?
Yeah.
Oh, you want us to hate Zionism? I mean, it seems like you're promoting Zionism. Is that the new
Yeah, no,
definition of Zionism? Okay,
here's the
I'm
quote.
more of a Zionist than I realized. Yeah, go on.
During the speech where she I said, long live October 7th, you have to have a very specific Zionist interpretation of what I said to make that argument that this is hate speech.
Right. So, but guys,
Because
Zionism apparently means meeting the lowest standard of human decency. Okay, that means that's the new definition of Zionism. Okay, so that's what Okay.
yeah,
Sure. All right, go on.
yeah.
Yeah.
New Zionism just dropped. It's called not praising the butchery of families. Okay, you have to have a very specific Zionist interpretation of what I said to make the argument that this is hate speech, because the words I was saying weren't even negative words. Armin, they weren't even negative words. They were just positive words about the Palestinian resistance.
Right. Yeah. Just
Obviously, you guys,
so because they
everyone
were
in the live chat, you're a filthy Zionist if you don't understand that there is nothing negative about saying long live October 7th. It's only positive words about the Palestinian resistance. What?
Yes.
By the way, you crazy bitch, thank you once again for telling me everything I needed to know about the Palestinian resistance, right? Like, they don't, I would say that they don't know how they sound to like the average person, but I think they actually do. And their goal is to escalate around people who are already somewhat affiliated or in sympathy to them. Yeah, I'm not gonna get into like my theory of mind that much more. But oh my God, so basically like everything that happens to her is just the Zionist plot. Obviously, guys. Obviously. And then wait, what was the context of this next video I wanted to show? One second. Okay, so this next video is a video of her speaking at this event hosted by this other terrorist supporting organization that she's involved in called Masar Badil, that is affiliated with Samidun. And apparently there was a senior official of Hamas at this event. This is some wild shit. Okay.
Palestine is the measure of humanity, and Palestinian liberation is the measure of humanity. And the Palestinian armed resistance forces are the front line in the defense of humanity. And so it is true that October 7th changed the world, and it is up to all of us to work together to do everything that we can to make that real, meaningful change possible, meaningful, and implemented for a free Palestine from the river to the sea, and for a free world for all of humanity. Thank you, comrades, and I look forward to hearing the discussion to come. It is an honor to be with you today and to continue these important discussions with the Palestinian resistance and the regional resistance that in many cases our states want to criminalize and repress so that your voices are unheard, but they will never be unheard because the voice of the power of the people and the voice of resistance speaks louder than all of the screams of the war machine of fascism and imperialism. Thanks again, comrades.
Armin, what is your reaction to that?
Well, she answered the answer I was looking for in the live chat, guys. Okay, so I don't know if anybody. I was looking. I didn't see anybody answering my question. People saying occupation. They were saying resistance to thinking critically and stuff like that. But she answered it. Okay, so they want to make the whole world free, and they see October 7th as a movement in that direction. Free from what? So when she says from fascism and imperialism, what does she considers fascism and imperialism is the world order that we have, which is the new liberal world order. So the reason why these people, the Marxists and the wokes and the Islamists, see eye to eye is because the current world order, the current liberal world order that is the whole world operates by, right? This new international order that we have had since World War II, they see that as their main enemy, as their strong enemy. And this was supposed to be a 3-step program. This was 3 steps. And they were so successful with number 1 that they became so confident that they could do number 2 and number 3 as well. So number 1, and this is the reason why all of this is coming from Iran, because step 1 was successful in Iran in 1979. So what they call imperialism is basically Western imperialism. We call the world liberal order. That's what we call it, right? They call it Western imperialism.
And I would just like to highlight that this is what gave birth to our current understanding of human rights as a concept that should be exported around the world. Sorry.
Yes, international trade, human rights. Yes, exactly. So the step 1 was to remove the arms of the world liberal order, or the West as they call it, right? In Iran, which was the Pahlavi dynasty, right? And step 1, with the unity of Marxists and Islamists, more than 40 years ago, that step was very successful in Iran. Okay, so step 1 was in Iran, and that's why the center of all of this operation is in Iran, because they were successful in Iran. Step 2 is to remove so the Pahlavi dynasty represented an agent of the liberal order, successfully removed. Step 2 is to remove the agent of the liberal order in the Middle East, which is, say it with me, Israel. Right? So Israel. Step 1 was the Pahlavi dynasty. Step 2 is what they call the tumor of this West, the little Satan. So they call Israel the little Satan, to remove that from the Middle East, to eliminate Israel. Step 3 is to go for the big Satan. So we have a little Satan, and then we have the big Satan. The big Satan is the United States. That's the final boss. That's the leader of the world liberal order, the one that is holding all of this together. So it was Pahlavi dynasty number 1, Israel number 2, and eventually they were going to go for the head of the beast, which is the United States. This is why the Americans who say, why are we supporting Israel? What is Israel doing for us? They don't understand that Israel is standing in the way between Americans and America's enemies. They're paying most of the cost fighting America's enemy, because America is the final boss that these people want to come for. They want to completely destroy the world liberal order, and they see the United States Army and economy, and in this they are correct. The United States Army and the United States economy is the main support for this entire system that the whole world is operating by, right? So this is why they are see eye to eye, the Marxists and the wokes and the Islamists, because they hate the success of the world liberal order, and they all have their reasons, right? So the Islamists see this as the great enemy because they see they have a traditional way of looking at the world, Darul Islam and Darul Harb, and Darul Islam is the Islamic world, and Darul Harb, the house of war, is everything, the main power that is not them. And right now is liberalism. So that's why they're going for that. And Marxists also are anti-liberal because, there have been, ever since they have been created, they see liberalism as their main competitor, their main enemy, and they actually hate liberalism more than they hate any other group. They see it as their main number 1 enemy. And also wokeism is a new extension, a cultural extension of Marxism. So they see eye to eye with Marxists, and this is what brings them all together. And yeah, so did anybody get that answer that I was mentioning? So somebody, anti-Islam came close. They hate free society. I mean, liberalism is much more than just freedom, but
I mean,
that's the closest answer.
You start a bunch of
Yeah.
people's answers.
Yes. So I started them because they were coming close. That was one of them. Somebody says occupation. I mean, they consider all of this occupation. When we say occupation, remember, occupation is not just, it's not just Gaza and West Bank and the entirety of Israel that they consider occupation. The United States has been occupied. Canada has been occupied. They consider Australia has been occupied. These are also in their mind occupied land. Yes, Zaid is saying it seems to me that they're resisting peace. Somewhat close, because the peace and stability that we're seeing right now in the world, that is more than any time that we ever had in history, is because of the liberal order backed by United States army and economy. So yeah, that would be anti-peace.
And people need to understand that they oftentimes see peace as a function of suppressing liberation as they understand it. Peace and liberation are often in contradiction in their worldview.
Okay, so this answer was kind of close. Wakar was saying, for me, I think they see this as a Western white colonialism, so they are against it. Yes, again, these are different. Western white colonialism is what they call the world liberal order. That's the name that they have for that. And yes, they are against that. Yeah, so some answers were close, but I want you to guys understand. I'm going to do a member-only stream to show you, because a lot of people, when they hear liberalism, they think of progressive books, and they don't understand how powerful liberalism is and how the whole world is right now based on this new system that was introduced after World War II, and why the Islamists and the Marxists and the wokes are correct to see that as their main enemy, as their most powerful enemy. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't understand how powerful liberalism is and how this is the new world order, and they are against it because they confuse it with wokeism. I'm going to do a member-only stream showing how I'm going to use a review of Daniel Hayraju video against liberalism to show you how the Islamist mindset sees liberalism as their greatest enemy, more than Zionism, more than atheism, more than Christianity, more than Judaism, more than Hinduism. They consider liberalism. Okay, I say that as an atheist activist. Atheism is not the main threat to Islam. Neither is Christianity, Judaism, Hinduism, any of that. It's liberalism that is the main threat to Islam, and they understand that, and they're threatened by it, and that's why they're against it. I will do a stream on that if you remember.
Well, this is this is why they're joined together, because liberalism crushed them, improved them to be losers, and they can't deal with it. Marxism proved to be a losing cause in the 20th century, and people can't deal with that mentally.
That's why they had to rebrand with wokeism.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes.
I mean, like postmodernism was created by a bunch of disenfranchised, like depressed French Marxists. Like, are we really surprised?
Oh, by the way, we should go see some of the comments in this article, right?
Yeah. Wait, you got a few statements in Persian. Do you want to read those? You highlighted them.
Oh, so yeah, Zico is saying Bibi پس بزن اون بیت رهبری رو دیگه. Zico is speaking, is an Iranian speaking in Persian, saying, Bibi, so basically saying, Netanyahu, come on already, hit the house of the supreme leader. So this is the person from Iran asking Netanyahu why he's not, why he hasn't bombed the supreme leader already. I just wanted to highlight that so for people to know. And also Mujik was saying, Armin داداش نمیشه از ایران سوپر چت داد در حد اومدن و کامنت و لایک that, he's saying, Armin, my brother, sorry, I cannot send super chat from Iran. I can only support you by coming to the stream and being here and liking the stream. I love you. King. I love you, Sultan. So he's saying like, I love you, but sorry that I cannot send you super chat. It's okay, Mujik. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the support. I appreciate that.
Hey guys, if we have our community members inside Iran watching this and feeding the algorithm, hitting that like button and commenting, y'all can do the same. So if you did not hit that like button, okay, you better do it. It's a great way to support, like Mujik, okay?
Yes. Yeah, Mujik. I don't even know if he speaks English to understand what we're saying, but he just wanted to come support the show, so he just came over here, and liked the stream just for the support. Well, I appreciate that, Mujik. That's very sweet.
Kheli mamnoon, Mujik Jan.
Oh, Connor is here as well, speaking Persian. Okay.
So wait, there's one thing that I want to just say to people that is so important before we go through the social media posts, is that what people need to understand, this is so important, is that our 501c3 system in the United States needs to be overhauled and updated to better tackle figures that are exploiting the nonprofit system to support terrorism and promote terrorism. So I'm a big fan of a Senate bill called Senate Bill 4136, which aims explicitly to strip the 501c3 status from terrorist supporting nonprofits. And this is different than lending material support. People are saying, "Oh, Susanna, that's against free speech." Da 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 da. No, okay. We have an interest in removing the nonprofit tax-free status of organizations that promote activities that are a threat to American citizens. Okay, that's not crazy. They are still allowed to be an organization as long as they haven't committed other crimes. They're just not allowed to reap the benefits of essentially being subsidized by the American taxpayer by benefit of them being tax-free. See what I mean? That is a privilege. That is a privilege. Having that specific status is a privilege. If you strip that status because of that kind of activity, I don't believe that is against free expression. Second thing that I want to say, which is why this is so important, is because Samidun is actually not a registered 501c3. We have a system in the United States called a fiscal sponsor, which means that a registered 501c3, aka charity and nonprofit, can lend. It can lend its 501c3 status to a different organization that has not filled out that required paperwork and has not received approval by the government, and basically become their fiscal sponsor. So they're kind of lending out their charitable status to another organization. This is a problem because the reporting requirements and the transparency required to the federal government and the IRS is different. It's not as thorough. And this is what Samidun was doing. Samidun was under a fiscal sponsorship by a group called, what is it? The Alliance for Global Justice, something like this. And this group that gave them the fiscal sponsorship was originally created to support the Sandinista regime in Nicaragua. And some of the major donors to Samidun's fiscal sponsors is none other than George Soros's Open Society Foundation and a group called the Tide Center and Tide Advocacy. If you start following the money, you start to realize that if we were able to shut down the fundraising and the donating and grant making capacity of groups like Tide Center, Tide Advocacy, and a group that goes by the acronym Westpac, it would cut off this anti-Israel, pro-terrorism domestic movement at the knees. If you could just cut off like these three sources of funding that fund all of these groups that promote this kind of violence and terrorism. The ironic thing is that as much as people want to have anti-Semitic conspiracy theories, a lot of these groups are funded by Jews. There's another group that funds a lot of these extremely vicious organizations that is funded by the granddaughter of Levi Strauss, aka the Blue Jeans Company. Levi Strauss, obviously, oh my God, crazy Jewish. So it's just, I don't know. the more I look into this and the more I find out how much like Jewish money is behind the anti-Zionist movement, it's just so funny to me because I think about how much like anti-Semitic conspiracy theories exist because I'm in this space and I'm watching it all the time, and I'm like, you guys are getting Jewish money, and you accuse me of being a shell. I don't know. I just think it's just ironic. It's just funny.
It's funny because one of the main things I think that the pro-Israel side sucks on is media and promotion of Zionism and defending Israel. And I'm like, I thought Zionists were supposed to be controlling the conspiracies are so the opposite of the truth. Like when I go and see like the only recently it has gotten better, but the pro-Israel side hasn't been very good at coming online and making its case up until recently now. Ever since we got into like looking at Zionism and looking at Israel, the more we do research, the more we're like, what? There's so much. Why haven't this been said? Like there's so many obvious points in defense of Israel and in defense of Zionism. I'm like, why? There's so many things anti the other side that if people knew more about, their heads would explode. Like the very idea that Israel had a Supreme Court judge that is an Arab that basically charged two Jewish Israeli prime minister. Like these are things like there are thousands of little points like this. There are thousands of the fact that none of the wars in the past 70 years in Israel was started by Israel. Every single one of them was a response to the Arabs attacking Israel, and every single time it was Israel that offered peace and tried to come up with a way to not do more wars. The fact that Israel has more than 7 times offered a deal to make Palestine a country, and it was the Arab side that said no. Like these were simple little facts that should have been shouted everywhere. Like what is the other side doing? Like why is so? Yeah, I think Zionism is good at many things, but it's not good at media. Not only they're not controlling the world media, they actually suck at it. We should be helping Zionists with their media.
Armin behind the scenes is like, Jews suck at media. Where does this conspiracy theory come from? Oh my god. So funny. Anyways.
Okay. Okay. Oh, we should do
a lot of these really vicious groups are operating under this fiscal sponsorship system in the United States. It needs to be overhauled. Groups like Within Our Lifetime. It's a really big problem. But we're gonna celebrate a win like this while we can, okay, everyone? So let's go through the posts that Dee found.
And then after that, we got a whole bunch of super chats, guys, like some really big ones. So thank you for that.
Amazing.
All right, so let's go.
Scroll down to the second one. Yeah. So basically, it's someone announcing that so I actually didn't touch on this that much, but Canada actually banned Samidoun as a terrorist organization. So also a rare win from Canada. Shouts out to my Canadians, because it's been rough out there. I complain with my friends about a lot of stuff happening in America, but we look up north and we're like, did I say in Canada? We complain about a lot in the US, but then we look at what happens in Canada and we're like, well, we're not Canada. But I'll give you guys a win on this one.
Hey.
Okay?
No,
I'll give you a win.
Be careful.
Let's keep up the momentum, okay?
Yes.
So basically, a State Department spokesperson was announcing this. And someone replied being like, Israel is the terrorist entity here. PFLP is a resistance organization, partisans. That's actually another important point that I want to bring up. This group, Samidoun, as well as other groups that are in coalitions with Samidoun's, openly promote that Palestinian terrorist organizations should be taken off the terrorist list. And they call this criminalizing dissent. I would like to emphasize to people that this is not criminalizing dissent. And what they're asking for is that if these designations are lifted on these groups, that means that these groups would be legally allowed to operate within the borders of the United States of America. And we would be very hamstrung about what we could actually do to legally curtail their organizing and operations. So when people are saying, "Oh, we need to remove their terrorist designation. This is bias. This is criminalizing dissent." They're advocating for these groups to be operational within the United States. I want everyone to understand that. There's no two ways about it. Okay, wait, can you go down a little bit more?
Yes.
So if you scroll down a little bit and see the original tweet that was being reacted to, here we can see Samidun literally celebrating a terrorist. And then, so guys, these are the political prisoners that they're talking about. And then if you go up a little bit more, you will see an MP talking about how, like, hey guys, this is a organization that operates in Canada. Like, what's going on here? Like, we need to crack down on them. We must demand that Trudeau list Samidun as a terrorist entity. And it took months of work, but people were steadfast, and they eventually got Trudeau's government to do this. Especially after the Conservatives in Canada have been really, really pushing him on this. It shouldn't have taken this long. It's crazy. But, and then, so if you scroll down, someone's reacting to that, and they're like, doesn't anyone check this stuff out anymore? James, girl, that's how I feel too sometimes. But like I said, the more I have been reading a lot of these really lengthy reports by think tanks, it has made me realize that, look, I'm no insider, but I believe that there is probably a wall of litigation about to hit people across the spectrum of this movement, at least domestically. On a separate note, there is a very strong case for Students for Justice in Palestine, SJP, to be charged with RICO violations, aka as in operating like a mob. And there's a strong case that they could be tried under the Anti-KKK Act of the United States. There are people that are, putting forward these arguments. So and then if you scroll down a little bit, this was a video about some of the hate speeches given by Charlotte Cates, and this one guy is just like, arrest them all. Hell yeah. Well, she faced I can't remember what the status of her hate crime investigation was. I'm not familiar with how that works in America. I know that Khaled Barakat got listed as a function of the investigation in the United States. I'm not exactly sure how that's going to play out on the Canadian side of things. Barry is saying, what? Anti-KKK what? Yeah, so in America, we have something called the Anti-Klan Act. And it was basically, the name suggests, designated to curtail the activities of the KKK and basically go after groups of people that intend to infringe upon the civil rights of others on the basis of certain characteristics. And people have made the case that SJP falls within this categorization because of their actions against Jewish students, as an example. It goes a lot further. I'm not a lawyer. But I just find that very interesting. They're like, we could go after this group with the stuff that was meant to go after the KKK. I'm just saying, there's evidence. I'm just so let's go through the super chats. Asian American celebrating his membership is telling people to vote. Hell yeah. If you're an American, it's time to exercise that right. Or Hirschfield gave a super sticker. Thank you, or Hirschfield. Holy
Yes.
cow.
We did.
Okay,
3
so we got a
rotting chickens.
huge super chat from Heads and Tails. 50 pounds. Thank you. Saying,
Thank you.
just watched Max on your London interview where the black guy asked him for his views on Israel and its situation. Loved Max and his knowledge of Israeli history and how he came across with simple facts. Love you both. 55-year-old guy from London. Kisses from 55-year-old guy in London. Who's Max?
Wait, what was the name of the guy with the black Hebrew Israelite? Is he talking about, is that his first name? The channel? Is that guy? I don't know which Max
No,
you're
he's talking about it being in London.
Oh, on your London interview. Oh, wait. I did an interview with somebody in London Speaker's Corner. Is that what you're talking about?
Maybe. That maybe makes sense.
Yes, maybe. That's from years ago.
Yeah, that's an oldie.
About. Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for your
thank you, Heads
support.
and Tails. This is super generous.
That's very generous. Thank you.
I think I'm going to be visiting London later this year. Actually next year. I'm excited. Okay, Kenny is saying people want to know what your shirt says, Susanna. Okay, once again. This says Jumhuriye bi Khodayan, which is the name of our channel in Persian, aka it says Atheist Republic in Persian. In beautiful Persian calligraphy, and I will put the link to buy this shirt in our live chat once again because it is actually our favorite merch that we have ever made. And I think it's a cool way to, support and show your support for Iranian atheists. So,
by the way, can I just say I want to thank the super chats because we got demonetized. We haven't been demonetized for a while, so I'm surprised that this stream got demonetized. So I just want to thank the people who are sending us super chats because, yeah, the current stream that you're watching right now has been demonetized for some reason. Why? I thought YouTube was being friendly to us. We haven't been demonetized for a long time. What did we say?
I don't know. Maybe me talking about the KKK, the triple K.
No, before you said that it got demonetized. We haven't been. Yeah.
Heads and Tails is saying that he was referring to a 4-month-old video on our channel he watched today.
What? 4 months old? I don't even. We haven't been to London for a while now. Are you sure it was on our channel? Well, maybe give us the title of that video.
Bull McLeod celebrating his membership, and it's gone.
And it's good. And it's good. Yes.
Okay, so we did this one. Amit Yanuka celebrating her membership for 1 month. Thank you, Amit, saying the other side getting money for saying no to peace. Yep, don't forget it. But that being said, like Armin and I are not pacifists. We're not pacifists for the sake of peace.
Yeah.
I think we believe in victory.
Yes, we want lasting peace. We don't want ceasefire. Okay, ceasefire. Okay, so you have one side that wants to annihilate you, and that's its goal, and the other side who just wants to live. Okay, so the side that wants to annihilate you, if you have the upper hand, you should not negotiate a ceasefire with them, because ceasefire with any entity that wants to annihilate you just means that if you have the upper hand, just means time for them to recover from their defeats, for them to come at you again in the future. So ceasefire doesn't mean peace. Ceasefire means giving your enemy the chance to continue the war. So if you want lasting peace, you should say no to ceasefire, and you should say yes to completely destroying the side that is the cult of death that wants to annihilate you. So sometimes you need to continue the war for a lasting peace. So just remember that.
Yeah, I do not like appeasement with fascists. So Heads
Mhm.
and Tails just became a new member. Well, thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate that because we didn't understand your super chat. But I want to highlight to everyone that becoming a member is a great way to support the entire Atheist Republic organization. You support our work across all our different channels, across all our different communities. And this makes a huge difference. You can become a member by hitting the join button down below. You get access to our members only content and our Atheist Republic emojis. Thank you very much. And
Yeah, member only streams. And member
yeah,
only.
and this is important because basically it goes a long ways in supporting our work. It really does make a difference. Gigi Ryder just sent a super chat saying the Palestinian movement overall, PLO, PFLP, Hamas is worse than the K. I'm worried about monetization now. I'm going to say triple K. More racist, more murderous.
Oh, by far.
Yeah, an absolute number, 100%.
100%. Like, I think the Yahtzees would be even a better comparison because they're worse than them as well. I mean, the triple K seems like they look like saints compared to them. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Well, I mean, don't say that. I mean, the triple K were freaking domestic terrorists, but
right. I know it's just the same people say. When you say relative to them, you're basically, it's a joke. Like, you know that
I know. I just
evil,
don't want people to clip you.
But
it's too late. They're gonna do it. No. Kenny also just gifted 10 Atheist Republic
10
memberships.
memberships.
Thank you so much, Kenny. That's so generous.
Kenny.
And I also want to give a shout out to Kenny for being one of our best volunteers. He's very, very helpful to me. So, okay, let's go to the next news.
Okay. Clappable.
Thank you everyone for hanging on with me through that first one because I had to drop so much knowledge that's been sitting in my head. Okay. But I don't know, Armin, did you learn something? I hope people learned something.
Oh my God. Yeah. No, yes. Guys, this is Susie. Just sometimes she goes full on nerd mode on some of these stuff. And sometimes she tells me these things behind the scenes. And they're so nerdy that we don't know if we should mention it on the show because we think like, this is too much detail. People are going to get bored. So when an event like this happens, when she gets to bring all that, it makes it more exciting. Like it gives her excuse to bring all of that to you guys. She's just like, okay, I need an hour with our audience. So I'm going to completely let her have all the time that she needs to basically go over all these details with you guys because she was waiting for this. So.
Like, how else am I going to talk about like problems in the 501c3 system? Okay, but it's actually really important. It's actually really, really important.
Guys, let us know in the comments if you want Susie to get more into details that maybe other people would on the other channels will find boring. Like if you want to nerd it out here on this channel and get to this level of detail, let us know. Give us some feedback. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm saying the nerd and the mufti stream. Hey, being a mufti is just being a nerd Islamically. Okay.
Facts.
So oh, we got heads. Yeah, we got membership.
Oh my God, Heads and Tails, you're like so insanely generous today. Thank you. He just gifted 10 Atheist Republic memberships as well. Wow.
Thank you. Wow.
Guys, if you just became a member because of his generosity, and now you have access to all the emojis, like please drop it in the live chat. You got to show off your new flair.
By the way, suck it, YouTube. We tried to demonetize the stream. Our fans are monetizing it back. This is see, you can't demonetize us. Like,
resistance.
This is the true resistance. This is the resistance. Okay.
We're so lame, Armin. Okay. Okay. We really need to go to the next story because this is also a doozy.
Clappable.
Okay.
Clappable.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Next news.
The Islamic Republic wanted her dead. Assassination plot on activist exposed. So many of you will be familiar with Iranian-American activist and journalist Masih Alinejad, and this is about how further details about one was a kidnapping attempt and one was an assassination attempt, both on American soil, were foiled, and we got more information that came out because indictments rolled out from none other than the Southern District of New York, so you know what's business time. And let's get into it because this is important. On October 22nd, 2024, federal prosecutors unveiled charges against Ruhollah Bazgandi, a brigadier general in Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or IRGC, and 3 associates for orchestrating a murder-for-hire plot targeting Masih Alinejad, a prominent Iranian-American journalist and critic of the Iranian regime. According to the indictment, Bazgandi and his network contracted an Eastern European crime syndicate to carry out the assassination attempt in New York City, marking the first time a high-ranking IRGC official has been charged in such a plot on U.S. soil. FBI Director Christopher Wray stated, quote, "Today's indictment exposes the full extent of Iran's plot to silence American journalists for criticizing the Iranian regime, as the FBI disrupted the plot just before an armed suspect could carry out the attack." Alinejad, who has been forced to live in safe houses and under protection, reacted to the news with both sadness and resolve. Quote, "I was so excited because now we have proof from inside Iran to kill a U.S. citizen," she said. The indictment highlights the Iranian regime's use of extraterritorial violence to target dissidents, a move that Attorney General Merrick Garland emphasized the U.S. will counter relentlessly to safeguard American citizens and the freedom of expression. So, this is a very big deal because people will be familiar with I believe it was in 2021 when there was the kidnapping attempt on Masih Alinejad that was prevented by the authorities, in which it was basically plotted to kidnap her, take her, like somehow smuggle her onto a boat, and then transport her down to Venezuela, and then at that point extradite her to Iran, where she would face hell's fury on earth for her activities. If people are not familiar with Masih Alinejad, she's most famous for her work against mandatory hijab in the United States. She started movements like White Wednesdays, My Stealthy Weapon, and has basically been at the forefront of pushback against mandatory hijab and civil dissent against mandatory hijab for a very long time, many, many years. And she also works as a journalist for Voice of America, Persian channel. And so she is one of the most prominent anti-regime activists outside of the Islamic Republic. She has faced a high degree of repression for this, and her family back home in Iran has been prosecuted and basically punished in jail because of her dissent. They can't reach her, so they just go attack her family. And so the first attempt was this kidnapping attempt. Well, the feds found out, they cracked down, and that didn't work out so well. So the next thing that they tried to do was send a bumbling idiot to go try to assassinate her. And when
we have video of them.
Yeah, and we have video of this. Which actually brings me, I have to go find a different quote. It's so embarrassing. And it's literally this attempt at assassination of her. So I'm sorry, guys. There's like my brain is breaking as I'm trying to get the words out. So the kidnapping didn't work. So they're like, okay, let's just try to go shoot her on American soil. So they contract some Eastern European dumbasses to go try to shoot her. And the operational capacity of these men was not very high. And basically, this attempt to just go kill her at her own home failed. And they cracked down on the guy. But what is important about this indictment, because people are like, oh, what are you talking about? Like, we already know about these attempts. That's not new. What is new is now we have evidence we have evidence that this does come from the head of the snake. We have evidence that this does go all the way up the IRGC. That this goes as high as a brigadier general, according to the evidence that they have so far, and that
Wow.
is the charges that just come out. So, like I said before, and I want to highlight this, and then Armin, like I would like you to emphasize kind of the gravity of this, or what stands out to you. Like I said, where was the quote? This is the first time a high-ranking IRGC official has been charged in this kind of a plot on U.S. soil. Because part of the way that the Iranian regime operates is they use a lot of proxies, obviously. This isn't new. Or they hire out criminal gangs to do their dirty work, this including the Hells Angels. I don't know if people know that the Islamic Republic uses the Hells Angels to try to kill people and smuggle drugs. So they kind of use like criminal organizations that they just outsource to do their dirty work. And then on the other hand, they sometimes get people that are actually radicalized to work for them within the United States. And this typically comes from Pakistani Shias in the Houston area, and also Lebanese Shias in the Dearborn, Michigan area, are people that they actually recruit on an ideological basis. But typically it's more common that they outsource to criminal drug smuggling gangs. And sorry, let me just find this quote. Actually, no, let me get a reaction from Armin first while I pull up this quote, because it's just too freaking funny. So
Well,
Armin,
should we
like,
watch the
what do you think about
video?
this?
I have so many opinions, and I'm going to give you some details that a lot of people don't know on this channel, right?
Yeah.
About the opposition and the internal divisions between the opposition in Iran, right? But should we watch the video of the man just showing up to Masih Ali-Najjar's house? And should we watch the video first?
Yeah.
Okay, so here, can you give the context to this? What are we watching here?
So, for those who don't know, this is the assassination attempt that happened on American soil, where this guy who, what was his name? Like Khalid Mediev or something. He was an American living in Yonkers, and he was hired by one of these criminal gangs, to go assassinate Masih Ali-Najjar. And basically he literally just goes up to her front door and like rings the doorbell and tries to answer the doorbell, and then the authorities go after him, and he just has like $1,100 in cash and like all these Chinese made weapons just in the car. Like, it's like bumbling idiot level of assassination attempt.
Yeah, and they got him, like he just showed up to the door and just ring the doorbell, and he had the guns in his car, and they asked him, "Why are you here?" When the police arrived. What did he answer? Did he said something about, I forgot what his answer was, but his answer was something.
Oh my gosh. I can't remember. It was some really, really stupid excuse. Like the most obvious lie, that he was like just looking for to deliver something, or like a pizza. Yep. He had the dumbest excuse.
Did he say he was
I wish I could remember.
I think he said he was delivering food or something, and they go look in his car, and he had all guns in his car. Like it was it's like the dumbest assassin I've ever seen that was not part of a comedy movie or something like that. Like, like you could see they have security cameras. You show up. Okay, let's watch the video together. So look at this. This is guys, this is Masih Ali-Najjar's house, and this is the front door camera recording the assassin that is just ringing the doorbell.
Like he's just looking around, like,
and he's not wearing masks, just showing up with his face in front of the security camera. Like it's almost as if like, hey, lady, sorry, I have an assassination order. I was just saying like, if you're home, I'm here to assassinate you. I don't know why they hired this guy. Like this guy had nothing in his resume to show that he was good at his job. Like, were they just trying to save money? Because the guy was kind of
Dude, I
cheap
don't
as
know.
well. I mean, is Iran's the government's budget so low right these days that they can't even hire proper assassins? By the way, this is what they do now. They just use cryptocurrencies to hire. Like, this guy is not Iranian. He's not part of this fight. Like, he's not part of any of this. They just go use cryptocurrencies to just hire whoever is there to just do their job. They don't even send their own people. They just look for people who are already there. That's what this is the new method that the regime is doing. But yeah, go on.
One of the things that I wanted to share is, I've been talking about all these reports I've been reading. Well, one of these reports, and this is, let me actually give credit. This is taken from a report, and I encourage everyone to read this, put out by the George Washington University Program on Extremism, called Propaganda, Procurement, and Lethal Operations, Iran's Activities Inside the United States. Well, just a second. And this report is the most extensive survey of Iranian influence networks inside the United States to date. But I sent this quote to Armin because I was howling laughing. This is a screenshot from the report, and it's about the assassination attempts. Okay. Outsourcing the assassination appears to be Tehran's favorite modus operandi in carrying out the attacks. It is a choice largely dictated by necessity, since the U.S. homeland is a challenging operational environment for Iranian intelligence operatives. But it offers the Iranians also the non-secondary advantage of plausible deniability. Irrespective of what triggered the choice to use them, the proxies so far used by Tehran to carry out the assassinations inside the United States have tended to be elements who are not ideologically aligned, aka mostly from the criminal world, and who displayed relatively low levels of professionalism.
Okay.
Oh
I'm gonna give you a conspiracy theory, okay, that has been brought up. Let me know what you think about this. Some people suggest, again, not me, I'm just telling you what other people are saying, that they go on purpose find people who will fail at their job. Like, they it's not that they can't afford better assassins. It's that they genuinely don't want the assassination to be successful, because they're trying to find a middle ground of scaring the opposition beyond Iranian borders to shut the fuck up, but also not get the backlash from killing an American fucking citizen on American soil. They know that if they do that, the backlash to that would be too much for them to be able to handle. So they want to basically have both the scaring element, but also not scare themselves. Basically, they're also scared. They don't want to basically. They can't deal with the reaction to actually having a successful assassination, because there has been so many assassination attempts recently by the Islamic Republic. None of them successful. Like, in Europe, there's so many of them in Europe. Not a single one of them has been successful. So some people may think that maybe they're not trying to be successful. Maybe they're just trying to make people scared. Like, what do you think?
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know, but I'm inclined to suspect that might be true, because it's otherwise this is just straight up embarrassing. I mean, I'm glad, don't get me wrong. Of course, I'm glad that they're this incompetent. I don't want them to be competent, but god damn. Wait, I'm trying to figure out if I'm trying to look up right now what the guy said when they approached him about like why he was doing this. But
one delivering food, if I remember. Yeah.
Well, he was getting food delivered to his car where he was doing the when he was casing his home. He was getting takeout delivered to his car when he's trying to case the joint. Like, are you kidding me, bro?
Guys, we forgot this detail. Okay, so I misremembered this. So while he was carrying this assassination attempt, this assassin, this so-called assassin, ordered delivery to his car. to his car.
No, he literally goes up to the home. Okay, I'm reading a quote from an article that came out at the time in 2022. On one occasion, Medvedev got in and out of his car several times, ordered food delivery to his car, and approached a home in the neighborhood where she resides, peering inside the windows and just straight up trying to open the front door.
Yeah, he actually tried to see if the front door might be locked or not. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I don't understand.
So
did you? Yeah.
Man, I wish I could find because Armin, you're right. There was he's obviously starving. Hey, yo, okay, he's a big boy, but I wish I could find the quote because he did say something really, really stupid when they're like, "Why are you here?" But can I show you something else that I love? Something that I love. And wait, stop sharing. Okay. Okay, one second. Let me find it. Okay. So guys, this is why I love it when the Southern District of New York releases their indictments, because you can actually go find the indictments and you can go read them yourself online. And when I didn't have time to read the full indictment regarding this IRGC Brigadier General, but what I love is scrolling through them because you can find some juicy stuff. So in this indictment, you can find photos of all the people that were involved in this criminal network, this Eastern European criminal network. And one thing that I want to point out is these stars. So like they use basically like Russians have and Eastern Europeans have like criminal tattoos that have specific meanings. And so just pay attention to the star. Okay, so here's one guy. And then wait, when you find gold like this, I mean, you guys were getting some primo, crime gang selfies. I love some crime gang selfies. I mean, you just find some gold like this. I mean, it's one of these dudes was taking selfies of himself outside of her residence. I mean, give me a break. This is, I mean, look at this boy right here. But again, look at, they all have this criminal star tattoo on their shoulders.
Why they make it so? Why are they trying to insisting and making it easier for the police to basically connect them with each other and with these markings?
Well, I mean, it's actually part of a system. Let me show you.
By the way, I found the excuse that he gave. I searched for it. I found the excuse.
This actually goes back to the Soviet Union, but there's like a whole criminal tattoo language. It's really, really interesting. And it's a whole, wait, where can I find some good pictures? Some of them are like not, let me find one that's safe for YouTube. Oh, that's not safe for YouTube. Yeah, so like each of these things, has meaning. And like you have to earn them. So it's one of those things where like they had to earn those stars. You know what I mean?
How did he earn? Like, this guy seemed to be so bad at his job. How did he earn anything?
That's a good question. That is a good question.
I found the excuse this guy gave for when the police came for him for why he was there. Do you want me to read the excuse?
Look at.
Okay.
You can see the stars here. It's very similar, not quite the same.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyways, see, guys, I'm a nerd. Yes. Okay, now let's please hear this excuse.
Okay, so here, so let me play it while I'm reading it. Okay, so when questioned by the police, Khalid Mehdiyev, is that how you're? Yeah, claimed he was in the area. Mehdiyev claimed he was in the area searching for an apartment.
Oh yeah.
He also so he was apartment shopping. He also stated that he did not know about the gun found in his vehicle and the suitcase containing it was not his. So apparently he was just apartment shopping in an area, by the way, that houses are like millions of dollars. Like these, this is the area. This is a very expensive area. So he's looking at he's doing house shopping in an area where houses could be up to $10 million. Okay. And he's looking for a place to live there. And you're like, oh, gun in my car? Like, it's not mine. I don't know why that's there. So that was his excuse.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyways, do you want me to
No.
mention?
Oh my God. You're telling me that there's an AK-47 with an obliterated number on that? Oh my God. How did that get there? Shit. Thank you for finding that. That's scary. That's real scary. It's so stupid. Yeah, so Chuck Norris Gun Club is pointing out they're from Azerbaijan. So basically there's other parts in the indictment that talks about them speaking in Azeri. So I think they're Azeris that are part of a larger criminal network. And part of some of them reside within Iran. Anyway, sorry, were you about to say something?
Yeah, do you want me to tell you about, because you said what are the implications of this? Okay, so I'm gonna do you want me to get into the details regarding the politics of the Iranian opposition against the regime and the infighting that exists among us?
Well, yeah, and the significance of proving that this comes from a high level of the IRGC.
All right, so I'm gonna say a couple of things that a lot of people would not want me to say. Okay, about the opposition. Okay, but I am part of the opposition, and I want you guys to have the full picture. I don't want to whitewash everything. I don't want to give you make it seem like it's all like the Islamic Republic is the evil. So on our side, it's just pure goodness, and everyone is on the same page. It's not like that at all. Okay, we have some internal drama and some infighting with regards to the Iranian opposition to the Islamic Republic. Okay. So the main person that you could take seriously as the opposition against when it comes to a leadership figure in the opposition against the Islamic Republic is Reza Pahlavi. Okay. The thing is that Reza Pahlavi is fantastic. He's great, in my opinion. He's a true liberal. He has some opinions that I disagree with strongly, but overall he's great. And he is the most popular anti-Islamic Republic political leader by far, right? However, some of his followers are fucking cuckoo, right? Not all of them. Many of them.
It's embarrassing.
Not most of them, but some of them are like so aggressively in support of him, and he has came out against them many times. Okay, so I want to make it clear that Reza Pahlavi himself has taken a position against them many times. Okay, but he has some crazy followers that will go after anybody that could be a potential leader within the opposition that is not Reza Pahlavi, okay? Including somebody like Masih Alinejad. To be fair to Reza Pahlavi, the other side, the anti-Reza Pahlavi side, has also a lot of freaking crazies that hate Reza Pahlavi with passion and are looking for other leadership figures that are not Reza Pahlavi. And because Reza Pahlavi gets most of the attention when it comes to being the leader, a lot of people who are anti-Reza Pahlavi get extremely jealous. All right? That why is are the people that we love not getting as much attention, right? So one of the main figures that is Masih Alinejad. A lot of pro-Reza Pahlavi people hate her, okay? Because she is not Reza Pahlavi, right? And they think but to be fair, she is also to be blamed for taking some unreasonable anti-Reza Pahlavi positions sometimes. And to be fair also, she sometimes Masih Alinejad has done some really good activism, okay? I don't want to take that away from her. But to be fair,
in many ways.
Yes, to be fair to her, to her people who are opposing her, she does tend to display some some behavior that shows that she's jealous of Reza Pahlavi, that she wants all the attention to herself. Sometimes she does stuff that seems like she is doing that, okay? Sometimes, okay? And she has had some positions recently that are questionable. Again, I don't want to take credit away from her. She has sat next to cessationists, people who are, she seems to be allying with people who are challenging Iran's border integrity. And these are, when it comes to the Iranian politics, these are considered unforgivable sins among many Iranians. Okay. Again, I don't want to take credit from her where credit is due. She has done some really great activism, but you can see that the internal divisions. So these internal divisions has led many people who are within the Iranian opposition, who are anti-Masih Alinejad, to claim that these assassination attempts against her are fake, that she made them up to get more attention. Okay. Again, the truth is not this black and white. There are fair criticisms against Masih Alinejad. There are fair criticisms against Reza Pahlavi, but some of them go way too far. Way too far. And the idea that this was, she just made it up, this whole assassination was a made up story about her, that she came up that to get more attention, to steal attention away from Reza Pahlavi, with this reports from the FBI and everything, that now that all of this has been confirmed, all of the evidence has come, a lot of the people, and again, I'm talking about big names within the opposition, were accusing her of making this shit up. Like, I'm not talking about pro-regime people accusing her of this. I'm talking about anti-regime Iranians were accusing her of making up these stories to take attention away from Reza Pahlavi. Okay,
it's really unacceptable, honestly.
Yes. So now we have so much evidence that this is not the case, and some people have agreed. Okay, so apparently that accusation is not true, but some people are still insisting of these accusations being true, that this is all made up, and they say that the United States government is in on it because some Iranian nationalists, again, not all, this is like a minority, I don't want to poo-poo the entire opposition, some people consider the United States government to be in supporting the Islamic Republic. So these are people who think Israel is a proper ally because Israel is truly against the Islamic Republic, but they consider United States government to be supporting the Iranian regime because they don't want the Iranian, they consider the Democrats especially to be the enemies of the Iranian people, and they want the government in Iran to continue.
I mean, to be fair, I understand why they have that. I understand that sentiment.
I understand where that comes from. Okay, but they exaggerate it. So they think that globalists, right, as a whole, are trying to keep the Islamic Republic in power because they want a weak Iran, because globalists cannot handle a strong Iran. So they think that the people who are actually anti the Islamic Republic is like Netanyahu, Reza Pahlavi, and Trump. If you know, in the United States, maybe Trump is properly anti the Islamic Republic, but they think globalists, including the Democrats and everybody, they're actually in favor of keeping the Islamic Republic in power. And the way to do that, again, this is the conspiracy theory here, is to make sure that Reza Pahlavi doesn't come in power, because Reza Pahlavi is a true patriot, and a true patriot will be able to topple the regime. But the Democrats in the United States have to make sure that they replace the opposition with a weaker opposition that supports leftists, that supports cessationists, that supports communists, that supports the wokes, and that they are supporting people like Masih Alinejad because she is closer to the wokes, to the cessationists, to the Marxists, and they want to make her look bigger than the Reza Pahlavi as opposition, so that the Iranian people, instead of choosing somebody as strong as Reza Pahlavi, they choose somebody that is in line with the wokes and the Marxists and the cessationists like Masih Alinejad. So they think that's the conspiracy theory, and they think that this whole assassination attempt is Masih Alinejad and the FBI and the US government working with each other to make her the popular opposition in Iran. Again, I'm giving you so much detail that I don't know if you guys want that level of detail.
We're getting real inside baseball here.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's basically okay. Let's quickly look at the comments that Dee highlighted for us.
Yeah.
Okay.
What you were saying is actually a perfect segue into the comments on social media that Dee found. So if you scroll down to the second one.
Oh yeah. Yeah, okay. Here, let's go here. This one.
So someone is literally saying, BS, if there was an attack, it's been staged by the US itself. We won't get fooled anymore. And then keep scrolling.
Wait, hold on. Let me see. Is this guy Iranian? Because he sounds like one of those. Yes, this is one of those people that I was just talking about. I'm looking at his Twitter account. This is an Iranian. Okay, so this is an Iranian, and he is a pro Reza Pahlavi and pro Netanyahu Iranian. Okay, so he's like, so yeah, exactly the type of people I was talking about. That's interesting that you guys.
And then, yeah, here's someone else saying actually a supportive message towards her, being like, we're not going to tolerate this kind of activity anymore. Now, I think our government actually does tolerate this activity, which is a shame. It's a damn shame.
Yes.
But that's a whole different discussion.
So yeah, that's what Susie is saying is that these conspiracy theories, they always have some grain of truth into, like, it's based on some fair criticism that they just that they take
it way too far.
They take it way too far. Like, so when you listen to what they're saying, you sometimes like, well, actually they're right about that. Like, yeah, there is some truth. Their conspiracy is not 100% bullshit. Okay, it's like a shit sandwich. Okay, it's full of shit, but the entire, like, there's some bread and there's some stuff in it that is not actual shit. But okay, go on. Let this one.
And then the last one was this person commenting, I've heard it from a lot of Iranians that she's an IRGC asset. Not sure if it's true. So this is someone, basically, they believe that she's controlled opposition. I think that's completely unfair. A lot of it had to do with her past when she was inside the Islamic Republic. They criticized her for being a reformist. And partially, my personal opinion is that that's partially unfair because most people were reformists at that time. Like Armin yourself talked about, like, you voted for Khatami. Like,
okay, I was a kid when I did that. But also,
no, that's the point, though. It was a different time.
Okay, but also Reza Pahlavi himself supported people voting for the reformists during Khatami's time. So, anyways, back then it was a different time. Guys, I know a lot of Iranians are, including myself, are anti-reformist these days, okay? But the only way for us to be barandas right now, meaning only in favor of toppling the regime, the reformist the reformist way should have been tried to show that it won't work. You would have never been able to come so confidently and say that reform does not work in Iran unless you tried it once at least. Okay, so supporting Rouhani after is unforgivable, I think, but the Khatami one should have been tried, or else we wouldn't have this information right now to be able to say so confidently that doesn't work. Anyways, yes, 45 years of trying, exactly. It's too, yeah. The Rouhani vote is not justified. Anyways, we should move on.
We're getting too deep. Okay, let's go.
We're getting so deep.
Super chats. We got a 20-pound super chat from Nail Bunny. Thank you so much. And I think this was your comment on like pacifism earlier, saying the armistice brought World War I to an end, but it was just a ceasefire, which means that 21 years later, World War II, I posted liberalism before anyone else, Armin. Oh, about when you were asking for answers.
You did? Oh, I didn't see that because you just answered so early before anyone else that it passed. I'm sorry for not noticing.
You were so
that,
on
but
the ball,
good
we
job.
missed it.
You are so correct.
I
Yes,
love this confirmation during the assassination. The assassins are way too stupid for her to make this shit up. That is actually a good point. It's like so incompetent, like especially when you go through the details. You're like, this is.
But that's what the others. But that's
Truth is
what the
stranger than
conspiracy
fiction.
theories say. No, but the conspiracy theories say like this is too stupid to be a real assassination attempt. That's what the conspiracy theorists say. That this is all made up. They say this is just too dumb. No assassin is this stupid. So
They're gonna be like juggling and bobbling the AK, like whoop, 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 whoop.
Okay.
Oh my god.
That's funny.
Anyways,
Okay.
Okay, so let's go to the next news. This is a little bit more serious. No one died, but someone did get shot. So should we clap? I don't know. I mean, there was a change. There was a recent update in this case that we should celebrate, though. So
okay, we're clapping. We're clapping.
Okay,
we're clapping for the failure. Okay. Next news.
Next news, Allahu Akbar shooter targets Jewish man near synagogue. On October 26th, 2024, a 39-year-old Orthodox Jewish man was ambushed and shot multiple times while on his way to a synagogue in Chicago. The shooter, identified as 22-year-old, I've also seen 23, Sidi Mohammed Abdullahi, allegedly approached the man from behind, fired multiple rounds into his shoulder, and later shouted Allahu Akbar as he exchanged gunfire with responding police officers and paramedics. Like, if you they spent like 2.5 minutes in a shootout with this man. That is a very long time. It's crazy. The way this went down was crazy. The video footage captured the chaos as Abdullahi fired towards an ambulance and a man walking his dog before disappearing into an alley, only to reemerge and engage with officers in gunfire for 2.5 minutes. I still can't get over it. Like, that's such a long time. Now facing 14 felony charges, Abdullahi, reportedly an asylum seeker from Mauritania, according to the New York Post, was charged with terrorism on October 1st, with Chicago Police Superintendent Larry Schneeling emphasizing, quote, "We will never tolerate violence that's rooted in hate and bigotry." Evidence of targeted anti-Semitism was reportedly discovered on the suspect's phone, a revelation that has amplified fear among Jewish communities already on edge from the global rise in anti-Semitic incidents following the Hamas-Israel conflict. The shooting has sparked citywide calls for justice as residents demand reassurance that the streets will be safe from such violent hatred. Authorities have stated that the attacker acted alone and say that there is no reason to fear a network of similar attacks. So this is a big story that happened here in the US last week. And this was very important because there was actually a big outcry from the community, because at first this man was not being charged with hate crime or terrorism offenses. And people were furious because they're like, let me back up a little bit. One thing that I think is really important for people to understand is that regardless of all the rhetoric that people might hear, basically falsely conflating Islamophobia with anti-Semitism, I believe that's a false comparison in my opinion, that these are not comparable. And that even if we use the correct term like anti-Muslim bigotry versus anti-Semitism, in terms of who faces the highest degree of hate crimes in the United States, it is Jews. Jews face the highest degree of racially or religiously motivated hate crimes in the United States. People need to understand that. And it's by magnitudes. It's magnitudes higher. And I can't give you the exact numbers off the top of my head. I just know that as long as I've been paying attention to the FBI hate crime statistics that they put out every year, it's always Jews as the highest percentage, or proportion to the population, whatever statistical measure they use.
Someone's going to say FBI is run by Jews, so.
I mean, maybe it is. Okay. Okay. And this is one of the situations where, once again, the Jews ain't come in number one, and we wish that they didn't. Okay. You know what I mean? Sorry, that was a bad joke. So basically, that being said, and this has been going on for years. I mean, it's gotten a lot worse since October 7th, but this is not new. That's what I want to highlight to people. And what's important for people to understand is that a lot of this is targeted towards people that are visibly Jewish. A lot of it is targeted towards people that are Orthodox Jews, because, you know, they oftentimes dress in a very specific way, especially if you get into the real like Hasidim, like bod guys. They have almost like a uniform that they wear, right? It's a very specific look that belongs to that community. And then there are people that get assaulted because they're wearing like a kippah, etc. But it's oftentimes these visual signs of being Jewish, like through dress, that lends people to become targets. And I want people to really understand that. So this man is a literal example of this. This is an Orthodox man who, although the police kind of used all sorts of weird language to talk about it at first, because they're like, weren't really being transparent about if he was being targeted for being Jewish. But witnesses to this attack, when asked by the media who was the victim, they said, oh, it was a Jewish guy. Like, everyone who witnessed it was like, oh yeah, no, this is a visibly Jewish man. Like, so people are like, I don't know, I don't think that this is a coincidence. And it took a long time for the authorities to come out with, I mean, a long time. It happened on October 26th. And then by November 1st is when the hate crime and terrorism charges came through. And there's a big outcry in the community because those charges weren't coming down at first. And I was outraged as well. And then when the hate crime charges did come down, you know, as an update after we published this, it stood out to me that actually this is a matter of the police being thorough in their job. Like, because that is a very specific kind of offense. You need very specific evidences of that person's animus towards that community to be able to actually hopefully find that person guilty as charged. You know what I mean? Like, we can't just throw it around. We actually do need to substantiate this in a very specific way. And it's going to take the police a little bit longer to find that kind of information versus, oh, well, obviously he's getting felony charges for shooting at paramedics, shooting at police, shooting this man in the street, like all this stuff. In terms of the attacker's background, like I said, the New York Post said that has alleged that he's an asylum seeker from Mauritania. I don't know if that's true yet. The authorities have not really released that kind of information. But I don't know. I think it's really important for people to understand. I wanted to talk about this to really inform people that regardless of what people may hear, it really is Jews in America that are the highest victims of this kind of crime. So yeah, I wanted to bring that to everyone's awareness.
I have a video of the shooting that we can show.
I would rather not show that on YouTube.
I mean, it doesn't show anybody getting.
I know, but I would rather be cautious and not show that on YouTube.
Okay, well, I'm going to send a link to this article in the live chat, and also these links are always in the description. So if you go down here, you could play the video. So this is the article. The link is in the comment section, in the live chat, and also in the description. And this is the article. If you go down, you could play. This is the video that you can play of the shooting. Okay.
Yeah. So if you scroll down, you will see a lot of people responding to this crime, like this person. So this is before the hate crime charges came down, and this is when the authorities were not speaking on if they're going to put forward those kinds of charges yet. And people are saying, no, this is a hate crime. There's no sugarcoating it. And then people were really critical of how the police responded to press briefings about this. Like, they weren't, when being pressed to ask about it, they're not clarifying like what he was yelling, because a lot of people listen to the audio and they're like, he's yelling like Allahu Akbar. Like, what are you talking about? They're not talking about motive. They're not talking about immigration status, all the stuff that people are very concerned about. And while they probably could have had a little better like PR training, I don't know. Now that more charges have come out and more information has come out, I think that they have a duty to be conservative when they don't have, proof positive of certain information. So I don't know. So yeah. See, Chuck Norris is supporting my decision to not show the video on YouTube. Thank you, Chuck.
Oh. Also, B is saying show the press briefing. Is it basically this this video? Should I show it?
Yeah. Let's do that.
It's 1 minute, so we could judge, because a lot of people were angry with this. So you guys could be the judge of whether or not this is outrageous or not.
There was something stated from that individual while he was exchanging.
Oh, I can see that why this would trigger people. Like, he's, instead of saying he was shouting Allahu Akbar, he's saying there was something that was being stated. Okay, I can see why people are angered already.
There was something stated from that individual while he was exchanging gunfire with officers.
What did he say?
And if I may, Chief City, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Somebody asked them, what did he say? He ignored that question.
Sure, without getting into anything too much, the statement that was made while he was engaging our officers is nothing that we could bring in as evidence at this point that would support any motive against his actions towards our officers as well as towards our victim.
Was it believed to be English, another language? What?
Wow. Okay, that is this is.
I actually disagree, though. That this kind of thing is more of. I actually kind of disagree. Look, I'm no lawyer, but I believe that this is really the responsibility to bring forward proof of these statements and the importance and the intention and infliction upon that event. I believe that is actually the responsibility of the Attorney General and the prosecutors.
Yeah, but they're not asking you to tell us the motive. They're asking you about things that happened. You don't have to interpret that. If you don't want to call it a hate crime yet until it's investigated, okay, fine. We'll wait.
It is part of the prosecutor's job, and they're not at the level of bringing in prosecuting yet. It's part of the prosecutor's job to establish the facts and the nature of the facts. And so, to a point, I don't know, the police have to be certain levels of conservative, because it can actually mess up court proceedings later on if they're not careful with what they say.
Okay.
I understand why people are pissed. I get pissed too, but I don't know. I think that they have to be very cautious because it has implications.
But
for the legal
okay, maybe you're right. I don't know what the standards are, but they are. But I think there's a double standard here, because they're saying the other stuff that. Okay, so this is not about their interpretation or passing judgment or come up with motivations. The journalists are specifically asking the things that happened there, right? I think they should be able to say that, and I don't understand why they're answering the other things that happened except this one. Do you know what I mean? Like. Why is there a double standard? Because they are when it comes to describing what happened, they don't hold back regarding other details, but anything that it seems like if somebody accuses these police of being woke, I mean, I could see why. But maybe you're right, but I consider me triggered. Okay,
Chief City, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure, without getting into anything too much, the statement that was made while he was engaging our officers is nothing that we could bring in as evidence at this point that would support any motive against his actions towards our officers as well as towards our victim.
Was it believed to be English, another language? What did he say?
We're not going to be able to put out that information right now because I want to make sure I'm not misstating anything. And so we
exactly, this is part of the piece. She is doing her job. She's protecting the proceedings of the prosecution so that they can actually hold this guy accountable.
Fine. Okay, good. It's okay. Okay, guys, I'm gonna accept this. Okay, support the police.
So we can coordinate through the Office of News Affairs because I am certainly not going to.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, this is not something that they're hiding because eventually it will come out. You know, they know that eventually this will be reported. So what's the point of them? They're not trying to. Okay, I'm gonna go to on Susie's side because this is an information that they will eventually be reporting on. They're just being careful initially. Okay, fine.
They put their foot in their mouth. It could actually result in the entire case being thrown out if they're not careful with what they say. I understand that it's infuriating. I get that. I feel that way too. But like, they're actually doing their job. It's not their role to create a statement of fact. Like, that's the prosecutor's job.
Okay. I'll accept that. But also be understanding why this smells like woke BS initially because
you don't have to tell me that.
Yes,
we can coordinate through the Office of News Affairs because I am certainly not going to misspeak and have there be any misunderstanding about the statement. So as appropriate, we will get that information out through News Affairs.
And then
So fine. She's like, you will get the information will come out. Like, we're not saying it right now, but it will come out. Okay, so they're not trying to hide it. I take my outrage back.
Is the suspect a resident of Chicago? Is the suspect a citizen of this country?
That is still under investigation right now. Right now, we're trying to identify a valid address. So we're still working on that information right now.
How soon could you make a decision about whether hate crime charges will be recommended?
When evidence of the facts present themselves.
Okay, fine.
They're doing their job. I know it takes time. I know it seems insane, but they actually did do their job. And when they found evidence, they brought down those charges. Yeah, Zach is saying, I'm with Susanna this time. We should be willing to be a bit patient. The Southport thing to me seemed totally different. That looks like a cover-up to me. We're going to be talking about that Southport situation next week, guys, because I'm losing my mind. I am losing my mind. But we got to save that for next week. So make sure to tune in next week. But let's go to the next story because this is...
I just want to say Angie disagrees with us, which is good, which is fine. We're going to have a diverse set of opinions about these things, okay? This is actually healthy for us to like have different interpretations of what just happened, okay? So it's fine, you know. But we are behind time, so we need to move on to the next news. Yeah. But we have a super chat.
Oh, sorry, I just started thinking about the Southport thing again, and I'm losing my mind again. I need to focus. Bera gave a 100 Swedish krona super chat. Thank you so much. How generous. Saying greetings from Sweden.
Well, greetings back to you.
I should learn how to like say something in Swedish because we actually kind of have a growing Swedish audience.
Yeah, we do.
How do you say hello?
Up with that?
It's like, hello.
Okay, that was funny. That was funny. Okay. All right, so okay, we should move on to the next news. Can we
Sorry, in Swedish you put all the little like circles as accent marks, and I don't know what that accent mark means. So I talk like I'm the Swedish chef in the Muppets, which I know is definitely going to build rapport with the Swedish audience.
I think they have. I think they are. I think we're fine. I think
The Swedish are condemned to permanently have most of the American public think that they literally talk like hergy or tossing meatballs around because of a goddamn puppet a couple decades ago. You're never living it down.
Okay. We used to enjoy a growing audience of Swedish now, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I think we're gonna.
I love that Swedish chef. That was oh my god, I loved the Swedish chef growing up.
This is going to come bite you in the ass a couple of years from now. You know how they put, how people making Chinese accent is from a couple of years ago is now
Wait, I know how to get it back. Okay.
You know how to get it back. Ooh, what is that?
It's a Swedish jacket, okay?
Okay.
From the Olympics.
Okay. Okay, we got it back. I think we got it back.
Okay. Anyways. Okay.
Okay. So, can we clap for? Oh my God, this news! Can we clap for this news?
I mean, I don't know. What do you think? I mean, this is some. We could clap because we're gonna dunk on the Taliban. I don't know.
Yes, and nobody died. Yet.
Oh my God!
So we're gonna clap. All right. Next news.
The Taliban bans women from hearing female voices. This is a doozy, guys. This is a real doozy. In a chilling ban, the Taliban seems to have issued a new rule forbidding Afghan women from hearing each other's voices, a restriction that could effectively prevent women from even holding private conversations. Announced by Khalid Hanafi, the Minister for Virtue and Vice, this edict extends the Taliban's oppressive grip on Afghan women's lives. Quote, even when an adult female prays and another female passes by, she must not pray loudly enough for them to hear, Hanafi declared, adding that God will be helping us with every step we take. Afghan women are now voicing profound despair, with one Kabul resident stating, quote, they are waging all-out war against us, and we have no one in the world to hear our voices. The Taliban's stringent bans have led some women to question their very existence, leading an epidemic of self-deletions as they grapple with extreme isolation and oppression, which advocates warn may drive many to despair. So I want to find a more precise quote because this is straight up confusing. So people are crediting this to a voice message that was released by the Minister for the Promotion of Virtue and Prevention of Vice. And in this voice message, okay, I'll read from the article that first reported this. Although the precise details of the Taliban's ruling are unclear, Afghan's human rights activists have warned that it could mean women are effectively banned from holding conversations with each other. In his message, Minister Khalid Hanafi said, even when an adult female prays and another female passes by, she must not pray loudly enough for them to hear. And then it continues. How could they be allowed to sing if they aren't even permitted to hear each other's voices while praying, let alone for anything else? He said that these new rules will be gradually implemented and, quote, God will be helping us in every step that we take. So this seems to be an extension of how women are banned from reading the Quran aloud in public. And now for some reason, now women aren't allowed to hear other women praying. Women aren't allowed to hear other women reading the Quran. The exact meaning is not entirely clear here. And I was straight up extremely confused. And I told Armin about this because I don't even think this is Islamic.
This is not Islamic. I mean, guys, again, I want to make it clear. We love blaming shit for Islam because usually we're correct, okay? I mean, Islam sucks, Islam is horrible. There's a lot of disgusting, vile, disgusting, and bizarre things that we could directly blame Islam for.
Yeah,
This
it's not
one,
hard.
This one is just Taliban. I mean, unless the Taliban has unearthed a whole, lesbianism spreading all over Afghanistan or something like that. I don't understand. Like, I don't understand this. I don't understand. Why would this? I mean, the whole point of restricting female voices is because it's sexually, stimulating hearing female voices. That's the whole. Islamically, the reason why you try to avoid women voices from being heard is so that you're not sexually tempted by their voice. Like, a woman's aura is not just her face, it's not just her body, it's not just her hair. That all of that should be covered to reduce sexual temptation, but it's also her voice. It's also even the sounds of jewelry around her ankle is also part of her aura. So if you have jewelry around your ankle and you're walking, and I could hear that, that could be sexually tempting, and that should also be restricted, apparently, Islamically, right?
You're telling me they're shutting down the foot fetishists too?
Not even if you could, not even if you're not seeing it, if you're just hearing the jewelry, the sounds of the jewelry around her ankle.
Well, I
right?
know. I mean, that's very exciting to the people that like ankles and feet. And I mean, God, let a brother live. No, sorry. I'm so stupid.
Well, not a brother, but it's also sisters, because apparently I don't get that. I don't get this, because women seeing other women, Muslim women seeing other Muslim women. Oh, by the way, here's how stupid Islam is when it comes to the limitation, and that doesn't cover this. Like, Islam goes as far as telling you that, another woman can see your body, that's fine, but not a non-Muslim woman, because a non-Muslim woman is not trustworthy enough to not go and describe your body to a non-Muslim man, for example, right?
Hey,
so even if you go to the level of the restriction and saying that, okay, you could show your body to a Muslim woman, but not to a non-Muslim woman. So even non-Muslim women are restricted from seeing your body. Okay, but now we're talking about hearing your voice by other Muslim women. That's a level of restriction that not even Islam endorses. So I am trying to see where the fuck they're getting this from, and my hands are empty. Remember, I'm not defending Islam, because I'm telling you the restrictions that is allowed in Islam are insane, to the point of not hearing your voice by another man, not hearing the ankles around, not hearing the jewelries around your ankle, and not even being seen by another woman who is not a Muslim. That level of restriction, which is insane, has Islamic stamp of approval on them. But this one is a level of restriction that is beyond Islam. The Taliban has managed to somehow become more restrictive than Islam on women, which is a record, I think. What do you guys think? Like, do you guys find any Islamic sources for this? Because I am not seeing any Islamic sources for this level of restriction, unless they are finding out that women are getting sexually aroused by hearing other women, just hearing them, and they're trying to stop that. Or maybe this is just a way to isolate women even more, and basically control them beyond how Islam is controlling them. So that's what I'm, let me see. There's zero hadith on this, guys. There's absolutely zero hadith, because they're even going as, Susie, am I correct? Look, I'm looking into this. Like, they're talking about even in a closed area where there are no men, there are only women hearing other women should be restricted. That's what I'm hearing? Is that correct? Let me see. You're muted. Let me actually, while she figure out her microphone. So the Taliban recently imposed a ban preventing Afghan women from hearing each other's voices. Yeah, voices as aura. Aura is like the part of, guys, by the way, the aura. Oh, so Susie is coming in and out.
Can you hear
Are
me?
you back? Yes, I can hear you. No, now your voice went out again. It
What?
was there for a while. Now it's back. Okay, now it's back.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So basically the quote, and I've seen different translations of this, is that even when a adult female prays and another female passes by, she must not pray loudly enough for them to hear. Which is so bizarre to me, because one of the only forms of education that is allowed for women past the 6th grade is Quranic education. And I get very confused because, like, Armin and I have known people that were part of fundamentalist Islamist groups and later escaped, like women. And they were allowed to have, study sessions together. They were allowed to study Quran together. It was like a position of leadership within the community for women to be teaching these study groups together, teaching the Quran to each other and stuff like that. Like, wouldn't they want that kind of thing at the minimum? Like, again, these are from other fundamentalist Islamist groups, and they're like, oh yeah, let the ladies go study Quran together. Like, mothers raise believers. This is important, da da da. But now, I don't know. This is bizarre.
I think the women of Afghanistan are fighting back. So this is my theory. Okay, I think the women of Afghanistan are fighting back against the Taliban, and the Taliban is just trying to, basically fight back. That's what's happening. I think maybe they're working with each other, they're collaborating, and the Taliban, in an effort to basically make sure that this feminist pushback in Afghanistan against them doesn't work, they're trying to find more and more ways to just isolate them and basically take their voice away. I think this is what's happening. Okay, but can I just really quickly give you some information regarding aura and what's happening here? So
Sure.
Okay, so basically what you just heard me, because this is I'm going to tell you something that some of you are going to think I'm making this up, but go check it out. Okay, so this was decreed by Minister Khalid Hanafi. Wow, his name is actually Hanafi. Okay, who classifies women's voices as aura. Okay, so aura is basically everything in a woman or a man that should not be exposed to people who are not married to that man or woman or not part of his or her immediate family, right? And guess what aura actually means? So the aura could be your chest, your hair for women, but now anything that's sexually exciting, your voice, the sounds of the shape of your body if your hijab is too tight. But what does aura mean? Like, what is that? Does anybody know what I'm going to say? What the word aura? What?
Basically, like that is which to be covered, or nakedness.
Okay, but what is the actual meaning of the word that they use to refer to that?
The nakedness, right?
No, it means genitals.
Oh shit.
Right? So it actually genuinely means genitals. So when they say your hair is your aura, their meaning is like genitals. You need to cover it. When they say that your voice is your voice is like an aura, cover your aura, that means it's like genitals. It means it could sexually excite people. I'm not making this stuff up. It's actually the meaning of the word is genitals. And when they see, and this is why so many people are saying, like, this is so embarrassing for Islam. When a woman's entire body except her face is considered to be aura, that means they it's not an exaggeration to say that Islam sees the entirety of a woman as just a walking vagina, right? That's what it means, because they see when they refer to your hand, your hair, your legs, your body, even your voice as genitals to be covered, that means a woman is the entirety of a woman is a walking vagina. That's what it means.
Man, and it's to the point that, guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but the word in Pakistan that they use for woman is literally aurat. That's the word for woman, right?
No, so yes, exactly. So aurat
Like the
or
aurat march.
aura, these are the same words depending on whether you're not you want to put 2 dots at the last letter or not. Okay, so aura, so Arabs usually don't pronounce the last letter with a T sound. Iranians, unless they connect it to something else, Iranians actually pronounce the T. So when I say aura, it's aurat and aura are the same thing, and Arabs pronounce the last letter without a T sound, so it sounds like aura, and Iranians pronounce it with a T sound, so it's aurat. So yeah, aurat actually could also mean just a woman, which is referring to women as genitals.
From Pakistan.
Yes, in Pakistan, yes. So therefore, Iranians and Pakistanis refer to it as aurat. Arabs say aura, right? And in Pakistan, they call women aurat, which means this is an Islamic lingo that came into Pakistan, which means they basically call women vaginas because it's something to be covered. Or the reason why they call women aurat is because it's something to be covered, just like you're supposed to cover a vagina.
This goes so deep. So deep. But I'd be super curious to actually hear this voicemail from someone that actually speaks and understands Dari, that the message that, this proclamation comes from, because I feel like there might be some context just to explain like what the hell's going on here. This doesn't make sense.
Here, really quickly, I just want, because this is so insane, people might think I'm making this stuff up. Okay, so in literal sense, aura refers to the most private parts of the body, basically genitals. Okay, extended concept beyond the genitals, aura means the parts of the body that is private enough to be covered, right? So basically, the reason why they call it aura is because genitals are so private that you're supposed to be covering it. So it refers to, then it got extended to the rest of the body that needs to be covered, right? Like the genitals. And because a woman is a person that her entire body and voice needs to be covered, so her entirety became an aura. So much so that in some places they just call a woman aurat. So this is how something that was meant to be genitals is now been extended to the entirety of what a woman is.
The entire conception of being female.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is nothing but a concerted effort to completely strip the individual of any sense of self and identity.
Okay. Sure.
So should
one last thing, okay? And think about these are the same people who say liberal culture or Western culture treats women like sexual objects, and Islam is actually so respectful of women that the reason why we cover them is because we value them, unlike Western culture.
We treat our women like sexual objects.
No, we don't treat them like sexual objects. Yet the actual logic for them covering up women is because they are sexual objects. So don't let them make you believe that because Westerners treat women like sexual objects, they cover women up because they think it's too valuable to be seen by everyone. Like, it's not a sign of value. It's actually the sign that they see women as nothing but sexual objects.
And this is why there are certain governments around the world that ban the hijab in classrooms and for minors. I completely support that policy.
Okay. So sorry, I know, Susie, you told me to go faster, but these were some things on my mind I had to say.
Angie is saying, so heartbreaking. Is anyone resisting the Taliban? I know that there are underground networks of women that have like secret underground schools. It's very, very difficult work, but that does exist. That's what I know about, to my knowledge. In fact, I saw some reporting based on this news story where people were saying that there's might be some division within the Taliban about these kinds of measures, because basically some are concerned that it's going to bring people to such a breaking point that they're going to fight. They're going to actually like just reject this leadership. I don't know how much credence to give to that.
I don't think that there is some resistance to the Taliban, but nothing strong enough that could actually challenge it significantly. It could challenge it to the point where like they kind of find like some annoyance towards it, like they find it annoying or cause them to change something somewhere, but nothing to the point where it actually, we have no challenge to the Taliban to the point that they could threaten Taliban's rule over Afghanistan. We don't have that at all, not even close.
Engaged in American is asking, would this be the sin of innovation?
Well, if I was the Taliban, I would say that we make this a law. No, the law, we are allowed to have laws that are not directly mentioned in Islam, right? Because if I was a Taliban, I would say like, hey, like for example, we have the law that cars needs to stop behind a red light. We don't have any freaking hadiths for that. We don't have any Quranic verses for that. It's just something that is working right now, and the Quran and the hadith don't tell you that you're not allowed to have laws that are not mentioned directly in the hadith. So we, the rulers of this, oh yeah, actually I just came up with an excuse for the Taliban. This is actually the best justification for it, right? So the Taliban could say, but like, yeah, sure, this might not be an Islamic ruling, but it's something that we recognize that we require right now for the stability of Afghanistan as the rulers of Afghanistan. So that might be the answer. If I was the Taliban, that's what I would say.
Okay, so let's go to the next story.
Okay. So
and
clappable.
This next one, oh, this is clappable mainly because we're going to talk about Iranian Islamic Republic influence networks within the United States.
Okay. Crap. Next
news. Enemies of peace. U.S. Imam accuses Zionists of global chaos and treachery. Classic. During a Friday sermon at the Islamic House of Wisdom in Dearborn, Michigan, Imam Muhammad Ali Alahi delivered a series of incendiary remarks accusing Zionists of being enemies of peace who love blood, misery, crime, and corruption. Alahi, an Iranian-born cleric who has long-standing ties to Iran's regime, denounced the American government's support for Israel as shameful, stating, quote, "Taxpayers are paying for this kind of violence and terrorism." Citing Quran verses, he condemned what he described as Israel's actions against Palestinians, asserting that words like occupation and genocide do not fully capture the scale of Israel's brutality and barbarism. Alahi also lambasted President Joe Biden, suggesting that he is sleeping while the nation's foreign policy is allegedly influenced by AIPAC, the pro-Israel lobbying group. The imam's rhetoric and alleged alignment with Iran's agenda have drawn scrutiny from U.S. lawmakers, especially given reports from the George Washington University identifying him as a figure advancing pro-Iranian propaganda within the United States. The report highlights his extensive ties to the Iranian regime, beginning with his early career as the head of the Iranian Navy's Political Ideology Office in 1982. Despite his associations, Alahi continues to engage with prominent U.S. political figures. His visibility and political involvement underscores the influence of individuals with ties to the Iranian regime and how they can wield power within American communities. So, Armin, please bring up that video that I found. And this is kind of long, so let's not watch the whole thing. Let's just watch like the first 2 minutes.
Okay.
We cannot find the right word for things that we have been observing in the last year, for almost a year now. What is the word? Occupation or apartheid or genocide or war crimes are not enough to describe the reality of this brutality and barbarism. We are dealing with these people who are enemies of peace. They love fighting. They love war. They love blood. They try to escalate the war to make more mess and more misery in this world, because they enjoy crime and corruption. But what is really shameful for us as American citizens, that our government is sponsoring this terrorism, the state of terrorism, with the tax of this nation. The taxpayers are paying for this kind of violence and terrorism. And then nobody is even talking about it. We looks like we don't have even a president now. President Biden is sleeping. We don't hear from him. And looks like he's just sleeping. A country without president at this time. And looks like the country is run by AIPAC, both in foreign policy and what is going on in Palestine and Lebanon. Brothers and sisters, what Israel did in the pager and other wireless devices in Lebanon, it is a tsunami against international trust in any transaction. Now, it's going to be a crisis in business in the world, that all these countries that they order, whether you order a refrigerator or microwave or dishwasher or a cell phone or a Synagogue or an airplane or whatever, you don't know that's going to be the same. If they could do this to a pager, simple pager,
brother,
what about an airplane?
It's scary.
What about a TV set?
Oh my God.
So now they broke the international trust. That is a treason to trust of this global community. They brought this chaos in transaction because they are أشد الناس عداوة للذين آمنوا ذلك بأنهم كانوا يكفرون بآيات الله ويقتلون النبي.
Stop. So after this, he basically just launches into quoting scriptures in Arabic, detailing all the ways in which Jews are not trustworthy. But guys, don't worry, it's just the Zionists, right? Triple parentheses. And I wanted to talk about this because, like I said, talking about what this guy said is one thing, but what's more important to talk about is this man's background. And like I said, I want to bring you guys more of this knowledge that I've been digging into recently, but I want to do it in a way that's entertaining. And it makes people want to watch and learn, right? And if I just went through this report and all its details, it would be, I don't know, too much. But here, the good news is that we have something called Memory TV. And Memory TV brings me some little golden nuggets and snacks to munch up every week. And a lot of these people that are, I believe, agents of the Islamic Republic, run their mouth and end up on memory TV a lot. And it gives me a good excuse to come bring in this other knowledge that I have. So I want people to understand that here, for example, is a look at the Iranian influence network in the United States. And this is only part of it. This is not all of it. But what's important to understand is what's going on in Dearborn, Michigan. Okay. We have an entire Dearborn hub happening right here. Another very, very important location is down here in Houston, Texas. And what is interesting to note is that Houston actually does have kind of a largish population of Iranians. There's maybe about 1,000 Iranian families in Dearborn, Michigan, but the largest population of Iranians in the United States is actually over here in Southern California. You know what is interesting, though, about who is in these particular cities? Large populations of Shia Pakistanis and large populations of Shia Lebanese. So it's important to understand that the Iranian influence network in the United States is not exactly even focused on influencing Iranian Americans. This is very, very important. That's
because Iranian Americans are largely against the regime, so they have to go find other Shia communities. Yes,
and they do this very, very well. So let's scroll down to this guy's organization. So he is part of the where is it? Whoops. He is part of the Islamic Center of America. Dearborn's Islamic Center of America is currently the largest mosque in North America and the oldest Shia mosque in the US. And basically, they have been echoing the propaganda of the Islamic Revolution since the 80s, since the beginning. And this is a mosque that is known, and this guy is notorious for anti-Semitic remarks. They are notorious for promoting and holding memorial services for the spiritual leader of Hezbollah, for example. Calling for the death of Salman Rushdie, all sorts of stuff. And what is incredibly concerning is that here, this leader, Elahi, is this man right here. Who is he with, Armin? Who is Elahi, an American citizen, standing with in this photo?
Rouhani and Zarif? Is that Rouhani on the right?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah. Okay.
And then scrolling down,
these are the so-called reformers.
Yeah. Oh, the so-called reformers. And we can see them with, you can see him here with who? Khomeini.
Oh my God. Wow.
This is a guy that somehow managed to get American citizenship. I don't know how. And what is incredibly shocking is that this imam, Elahi, is the only American member of the Ahl Bayt World Alliance. And let me find the summary.
Wait, before you go, who highlight? Why is this highlighted? Did you highlight these?
Oh, this is my notes. You're looking at my notes on this report.
So you went through all of this report and you highlighted these, and okay, so you just study these for what on your own free time? The guys, look at Susie.
This is what I do, guys. I went and read this whole thing. Oh wait, no, this is too. Where's the pop out on the Ahl Bayt World Assembly? Okay, here we go. This is very, very important. This man is the only American member of the Ahl Bayt World Assembly. This is very, very important. This is one of the primary tools of Iranian influence around the globe. And the Ahl Bayt World Assembly, or ABWA, was formally established in 1999 by Ali Khamenei and is a successor for all this other stuff, blah, blah, blah. Khomeini believed that achieving a global, powerful, and influential Iranian state required exporting the ideas of the revolution to non-Iranian Shia and Sunni communities. AWBA was shaped by that vision, and the NGO-resembling institution has arguably become one of the main tools for spreading the Iranian regime's version of Shia Islam and supporting its agenda. And this is important because it's tied to this other university that is known to train operatives and recruit people to become spies and double agents. And they've been listed by other countries. They've been listed by, the Al-Mustafa International University. This is also another very, very important piece of this puzzle. And yeah, here we have an American citizen that is part of it. Imam Elahi is the only identifiable American member of the ABWA's General Assembly, which meets every 4 years to policy and review opportunities, threats, and strategies in their activities. And there are other people that are in this network of Dearborn, Michigan mosques that have close ties to this assembly. And wait, let me scroll back down. This is very worrying, guys, because he gets platformed by incredibly important officials and influential people within our government. And I want people to understand that this is, very worrying on multiple different levels. But Armin, I want you to speak on what kind of message does this send to people who are part of the opposition, to people who are dissidents, when they see someone like Elahi with senior leadership in our country?
Yeah, so you remember how I said the conspiracy theories that are unjustified and exaggerated is based on some grains of truth that just go too far? This is the stuff that feeds into those many Iranians, again, a minority, but still a lot, there's a larger number, but small in percentage, Iranians thinking that, okay, maybe the United States is actually trying to keep the Islamic Republic in power because they see stuff like this, because they go and research these things and they see so much, especially the Democratic Party, doing things that they are not able to explain other than maybe they're on the same side. Again, I'm not saying that they are. That's a conspiracy theory. But again, these are the stuff that leads to some Iranians thinking that, the US is not our ally when it comes to our battle with the Islamic Republic. This is why so many Iranians love Israel, because they only think that Israel is the only country that could be trusted with the actual intention of being anti the Islamic Republic. And United States cannot be trusted. Only Israel can be trusted. It's stuff like this.
I actually realized that I misspoke, so let me correct myself in a second. I attributed him to the Islamic Center of America. It's a little bit confusing because a lot of these mosques in the Dearborn, Michigan area actually were connected at some point and had different schisms. So I misspoke. He's actually part of the Islamic House of Wisdom. And like I said, he was a former preacher at that other mosque. And what's important about this, what is so important, is that the Islamic House of Wisdom, where this guy Elahi is currently at, became a beneficiary of the Alavi Foundation. The Alavi Foundation is a charitable organization in the United States that is a front for the Iranian government. So this is one of those situations where we can legitimately and without question tie this money back directly to funding for the Islamic Republic, because the Alavi Foundation was a charitable foundation that was originally established by the Pahlavis, by the Shah. And when the revolution happened, that charitable foundation was expropriated by the Islamic Republic and then became their front in the United States. And it is tied back to regime officials meeting with their senior leaders, with their presidents, getting directions. When they come visit the UN, they have meetings with them. They are tied to Iranian banking systems, which have been banned and outlawed in the United States. And this Alavi Foundation funds K through 12 education around the United States at Islamic schools, including one of these schools in Houston. And Armin, so this is important because we can actually say that we know that there is regime money coming into this center. But what I want to highlight, wait. Let me find it real quick. Is it going to be here? It's going to be up. Armin, do you remember when we showed the Salam
Yes.
Farmande incident that happened in Houston? For those who are not aware, there was this incident that happened where there are American school children singing Islamic propaganda, Islamic regime propaganda music in Houston, and they put out propaganda videos about it. It was videos that were featured on Iranian state media. And we covered this on the show. This was a huge deal. That school is funded, gets money from the Alavi Foundation. That school receives money from the Islamic Republic. This is not like this is happening. This is actually the real thing.
Yeah.
So, and by the way,
And there are other examples in Michigan that D included. So this Salon Farmonde is one example, but can I show you, like, for example, this was in Michigan. So this is how what this translates to, right? Look how big that crowd is. Look how far it goes. And also, here's another example of what that translates to. Again, this is in Dearborn. So this is... Oh, so this is when they gather to honor Hezbollah, Hassan Nasrallah, the leader, the former leader of Hezbollah. Whoa! They're saying Khaybar, all Jews. So Khaybar is when Ali, the first Imam of Shias, went and took off the door of the place that the Jews were, and after that they committed genocide on the freaking Jews. So when you ever hear Khaybar, remember they are remembering Ali, the first Imam of Shias, the fourth Khalifa of Sunnis, basically celebrating the door that apparently he was strong enough to basically take out a door with his hands, with his arms, and then they rushed into this place where the Jews were, and they just basically massacred them. And that's what they're saying, Khaybar. Every time you see Khaybar, you hear them saying Khaybar, remember, that's a celebration of a genocidal, during the time of Muhammad, a genocidal act that Muslims did on the Jews. So you're saying Khaybar, oh, the Jews, the army of Muhammad will return. Yeah, this is a promise of genocide.
Wait,
anyways, this keeps going.
Yeah. What I want to highlight to people is that when you see any organization that is doing a celebration of Al-Quds Day, that should be an immediate red flag for Iranian influence networks. Period. Al-Quds did not come out of nowhere. Al-Quds is Khomeinism. This Al-Quds Day has a very specific history. So, and also what makes this a little bit more confusing is this Imam Elahi. He has a brother who also operates as an imam within the United States. So we got these Elahi bros are out here saying they're doing some wild stuff. So yeah, all of that was an excuse for me to come tell you guys about this information that has been living in my head for a few weeks now.
Can I expose Susanna for a second here, guys? This whole news was an excuse so Susanna is just like reading these reports, taking notes and highlighting them, and they're all just sitting with her with nobody to share it with. And then all of a sudden, this is what she does, okay? So she has so many of these reports that she just goes over, and she's like, well, how can I share this with people? And then when something like this happens, she's like, ooh, I will use this news as an excuse to show people my notes. That's what's happening here. This is what's happening here. So this news is just a front. This news is just an excuse for these things that is she's just holding it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was sending these reports to D because I'm like, no
Yes.
one else is going to appreciate this the way that D will. Okay. Yeah. Weeks ago.
Yes.
Because I know D is also
But there's
a
a
nerd
lot
like
more.
me. Okay.
I mean, but there's a lot more of these reports that she's reading. Like, it's just that this is one that we have a news relevant to it that she comes and shares it with us. But she has
I know the next
that's why
report that I have to
she
read
wishes.
is like a series of reports about Hamas.
So it's a kind of, and also Susanna says that if she had her own live streaming segment, Susanna wanted to be able to just come and do a segment where she just goes over reports with you guys. And I think, like, we don't know if she said, like, that's not going to be interesting enough to most people for streaming. But she wishes that if she had her own, so I have my own segment and we have a segment that is me and Susanna. But Susanna wishes that if she had her own segment, that she was just going over reports and reading these documents with you guys. But the reason why we're not doing that is because we don't think that, because unless we find the news that make it interesting as the title, as the headline, we think that would not be that interesting. That's the reason why we're not doing that. But let us know if we're wrong. Maybe there's a huge demand for that. So let us know. Yeah, you're muted again. You're muted. There's something wrong with her mic that she has to keep going in and out. She will be right back. Guys, support us so we could support Susanna with a better mic. I don't know why this happening.
There we go. So yeah, I had a lot of fun, guys. I hope you learned something. Please let me know if you thought this was interesting. I try to make it as digestible as possible because it really does go so deep. But there's one thing there's kind of a little announcement I want to make.
We have 3 minutes.
One thing
you're muted again. Oh, you're back.
People are saying, you'd think that the U.S. security services would be all over this, and D is saying this is hella frightening, I want people to be aware that the U.S. government is not blind. Okay. They know what's going on. There's been prosecutions against the Allahu Foundation before. Like, this stuff goes deep. If this is all publicly available data, this is a report put out by a public think tank that is free for the entire public to read. Let me be, and this is like publicly available, right? Imagine what is known by the security services behind the scenes. Okay. I, in my work outside of AR, have gotten just the taste on my tongue equivalent to a single grain of salt of the professionals that work behind the scenes to counter these forces within our country. These people are like bulldogs on a bone. They are tenacious in their determination to defend the American homeland. So I do not doubt for a second that these people are aware of these threats and doing everything within the extent of the law to prevent that threat to materialize in America, right? So, and I know that I've only been exposed to the tiniest fraction of what this looks like behind the scenes, and I was hit like a brick wall in my face, like, damn, these people are the most intelligent, well-equipped professionals I've ever seen in my life, and they do not sleep when it comes to threats against our nation. I can't speak about every other nation. I just know how I feel as an American. So I go to sleep feeling pretty okay, because these people are talented and relentless. So it can be infuriating that so much of this happens in the public sphere. But I know that there's so much going on behind the scenes that I can't even begin to imagine, right? I just want to give people some reassurance, at least to other Americans. That's all I can speak on. But the last thing that I wanted to say before we close out the show.
Quick, because if we go over 3 hours,
basically that I'm going to be working on doing a Giving Tuesday campaign and end of year fundraising for Atheist Republic. And one of the ways that I want to do our fundraising campaign to raise funds for us to continue our operations is to really highlight the stories of people who are part of our Atheist Republic community and how Atheist Republic has been a benefit to your life over the past year.
30 seconds.
Yes, I know. Come on. So if you have a story that you would like to share, I really want to hear from our community itself. Please reach out to me on Instagram. Link is in the description, or you can email me, Susanna at atheistrepublic.com, or you can hit me up on Telegram. And on Telegram, my handle is at Saint Susanna. But I really do want to get quotes and stories for everyone about how Atheist Republic has been a benefit from your
All
life.
right, guys, we gotta
to
go.
help us fundraise. Please,
Yes,
please tell me your
like
story.
the stream, guys. We have to go. We have 10 more seconds to go. Like the stream. Don't forget. Bye.